host, Mr. Richard Herring!
Thank you. Thanks very much. Hello. If history teaches us anything, it is that the Battle of Hastings took place in 1066 and that King Henry VIII really liked wedding cake. And all kinds of cake, and pies, and beer. And killing his wives the minute they even got slightly irritating. You have to respect him for that. But apart from those two things, history teaches us nothing. Nothing! And that's because history is so boring that the minute it tries to teach us anything, our brains shift into neutral, our ears frantically fill themselves with impervious wax, and we start staring at the bare legs of Joanna Thompson, who's sitting at the desk in front of us. But what if we could somehow graft history onto Joanna Thompson's legs and teach it to dance? That'd make you sit up and pay attention, wouldn't it? Look, I'm not advocating the amputation of the legs of teenage girls here. What I'm saying is, what if we could make history as sexy and interesting and relevant as that? Impossible, you say?
Impossible!
History is boring, you continue?
History is boring!
History's boring, is it?
Yes! That's what we all said!
Well then, I suppose this is boring.
History is cool and not boring like you only imagine.
That's right. We've got a pop band. It's Christian Reilly and the Warnings from History. And they like history, don't you, fellas? Well, I think that's put the audience in its place. No, I didn't. My name's Richard Herring, and as you no doubt remember, I was on TV in the mid to late 1990s.
That was then, this is now.
We don't actually need a sting there, Christian.
Sorry.
That was then, this is now, is the show that looks at what happened this week in history to see if it can help us understand the world today. Here's a little taster of some of the amazing and interesting and sexy things that happened this week in history.
1st October 1939, Winston Churchill describes Russia as a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma, thus inadvertently inventing the Kinder Egg.
27th September 1961, Sierra Leone becomes the 100th member of the United Nations and gets their first 2 weeks for free. Aww.
26th September 1934, Queen Mary launched.
That was then, this is now. Cutting the legs of 15-year-old girls and grafting them onto history.
Yeah, we're not actually doing that. It was a metaphor.
We meant it metaphorically.
That's okay, then. Each week on the show that everyone is already calling Twatuttin... Yeah, that's good. I'll be assisted... It's going to catch on. I'll be assisted by an historical expert. And the first member of what I would be calling my time team, were it not for a last-minute injunction from Channel 4, is my old history teacher from school, Mr. Morgan.
Hello again, Richard. Hello. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's good to see you again after all this time.
It's good to see you too, Mr. Morgan.
Yes.
Look, we're not at school anymore. Seems stupid. Maybe I should call you Neil.
No. It's Mr. Morgan. Some of the kids might be listening.
Well, I doubt it. This is Radio 2.
Yes, well, even so, you know. And I'd just like to say, you're right, Richard. Joanna Thompson did have terrific legs. Got me through a few lessons myself.
Mr. Morgan!
Yeah, no, come on, I was only joking. You know, I am a happily married man. Hello, Hillary, if you're listening.
Well, it's not funny. You were her teacher.
Yeah, you're the one who wanted to saw off her legs.
No, I didn't. That was a metaphor.
It was an ill-judged metaphor.
You're not here to mark me now, Morgan.
Mr. Morgan.
Mr. Morgan.
Thank you.
It's great to have you aboard my team of time. No, apparently... I've just heard I'm not allowed to call it that either. You get to sit over there in the nerve centre that is History Corner, which, before Channel 4's lawyers get on the phone, isn't anything like Dictionary Corner in Countdown. It's got history books in it, for a start, not dictionaries.
Well, there is one dictionary.
No, there isn't. So you've been browsing through the historical tomes. Any story this week in history caught your eye?
Well, I was sad to note the 29th of September marked the 102nd anniversary of the death of one of my favourites, Emile Zola. Now, who can tell me who he was? Richard? Come on, we covered this at O-level. The Dreyfus affair?
Oh, did he have an affair with Richard Dreyfus?
No. Emile Zola was the novelist infamous for his criticism of the French government in his J'accuse letter.
I was going to say that as well.
Well, tragically, Zola was hounded to his death by the repercussions of the affair. He wasn't even free from the vultures during his subsequent exile in London.
Look who it is! It's Emile Zola!
Oh, Emile Zola from off of the Dreyfus affair.
Oh, that's my favourite affair ever.
Oh, Mr. Zola, we love your stuff. Can I have your autograph?
Oh, please, leave me alone. I'm just trying to have a quiet day out with my wife and family.
Oh, please, can you just say it?
Say what?
Oh, don't be like that. You know what we want to hear. Do your catchphrase.
J'accuse! Yeah, go on. Accuse somebody of something. Say j'accuse.
Oh, brilliant.
No, not this again. In my whole career, I've only made one accusation. So why do I have this reputation as some kind of habitual accuser?
I don't know, but I'm sure you'll think of someone to accuse for it.
Oh, brilliant.
Normally do.
Look, I'm a writer and a novelist of great renown. For example, I wrote The Gin Palace in 1877, The Belly of Paris in 1874...
No offence, mate, but all that stuff was crap. Paris doesn't even have a belly. We don't like your surreal stuff. We just liked it when you did the j'accuse thing.
And when he did that funny dance.
Shit, that wasn't him, that was Descartes.
Oh, right.
Saying j'accuse was what made you famous, and I think it's a bit churlish of you to refuse to say it to us, your public, who got you where you are today.
What, on the run from the authorities who want to imprison me for libel without a penny to my name?
Yeah, you owe all that to us, so say it. Say j'accuse.
No.
Actually, Mr. Zola, I've got a copy of the Gin Palace here. Would you sign it for my mate? He loves you.
Oh, yeah, why, yes, it would be a pleasure.
He's called Mr. Hughes.
Okay, and what is his first name?
Jack.
Okay, to Jackie... Oh, no. Listen, I have exposed the anti-Semitism that is inherent in our society. I think I should be remembered for that, rather than just being the bloke that on one occasion happened to say j'accuse.
He said it, he did it.
Oh, it was like getting blood out of a stone, that was.
Yeah, he didn't do the voice right, though. It's more like j'accuse.
J'accuse. That's how you do it in the Dreyfus. Poor old Emile Zola, hounded to death by society's obsession with celebrity. You know, it seems to me that he lived his life like a candle in the wind.
Yes, he was 62 years old.
A big candle in a very light wind. I'm trying to help me out. I'm trying to prove a parallel between the past and today.
Yes, but Princess Diana died 7 years ago.
Shut up, Mr. Morgan. Do you want to attract girls or not?
Girls?
Yeah, if we can prove that history is sexy, then we, by association, will become sexy as well.
Really? Not that I'm interested in that. Hello, Hillary, if you're listening.
Of course, no. History is a bitch magnet. Yeah. Look at Simon Sharma. Without history, he's just a four-eyed, wobble-headed geek with a mouth that moves exactly like the mouth of Wallace from off of Wallace and Gromit. But get him talking about history, and he can't beat the women off with a sticky stick.
A sticky stick?
A sticky stick, yes. Move over, Sharma. The history groupies will soon be ours.
That was then, this is now. Feigning an interest in historical events in the hope that it will lead to copulation with emotionally vulnerable women.
That's right. That's what I'm doing. So, Zola snuffed it this week. Over to TV's Emma Kennedy for this week's other births, deaths and marriages.
Time to find out who got wet, red or dead with TV's Emma Kennedy.
Hello, I'm TV's Emma Kennedy, and I'm here to take you through this week's historical hatches, matches, and dispatches. So first up, birthdays! Happy birthday to Catherine Zeta-Jones and Michael Douglas, who were both born on the 25th of September. 100 years apart. Spooky. But on a more somber note, here's the historical figures we say goodbye to this week. The world of philosophy was in mourning this week in 322 BC for the passing of Aristotle, who died from indigestion. Perhaps he should have spent less time asking, why are we here? And more time asking, where are the Rennies? But on the bright side, the world of matrimony saw the nuptials of actor Robert Englund and his sweetheart Nancy Booth. Robert Englund, of course, most famous for his portrayal of Freddy Krueger. I hope they didn't have their honeymoon on Elm Street. That's what I'd call a wedding nightmare.
Yeah, how do you mean, Emma?
Well, you know, I hope Robert Englund didn't dress up in the Freddy Krueger gear and rip Nancy to pieces with his knifed fingers.
I think it's unlikely, Emma. Robert Englund is an actor. Freddy Krueger's just a character he played.
Yeah, but it would have been funny if Robert Englund had got confused.
What, and murdered his newlywed wife? I'm not sure how amusing that would have been.
Yeah, but...
You know, I think we'd probably have heard about it on the news or something.
Yeah, but still...
Still what?
Freddy Krueger.
Go away, Kennedy. Go away, back to TV where you belong, you mawkish harridan.
I'm not mawkish.
You are. I've been looking through who died this week myself. I have to say, it was a terrible week for popes. Pope Urban IV, Pope Urban VII, Pope Innocent XII, Pope Boniface IX, and Pope John Paul I all kicked the bucket in the same 7-day period. Coincidence? Or something more sinister? Yeah, if I was Pope John Paul II, I'd be sticking myself.
Sticking yourself?
Yeah, you picking up on my secret code to beat the evil Radio 2 censors. The stickheads.
Yes, well, I don't want to give your cursed Pope theory any stick, Richard, and I actually do mean stick there, incidentally. But there have been some 265 popes throughout history, so on average, you would expect about 5 of them to die in any weekly span.
You're really ruining this for me.
Well, you know, when I became a history teacher, I took a solemn vow never to misappropriate a fact.
Well, you know what they say? History is written by the winners and taught by losers. Yeah. Those old popes had some crazy names, though, didn't they? Pope Urban, presumably the first black pope, and Pope Innocent. Actually choosing to call yourself innocent is a bit suspicious, don't you think? Drawing attention to the fact that you're innocent just makes you think that secretly he had something to hide, I think.
Yes, Pope Pius is a tautology, surely, or at the very least showing off.
A bit like Pope Boniface saying, look at me with my bonny face. Aren't I great, vain man?
Well, actually, I think you'll find it's actually Boniface, Rich. Pope Boniface was afflicted with a rare skull disorder that gave him an exceptionally bony face.
Well, the one who died was Pope Boniface IX.
Yes.
So, if your theory is true, that meant there were at least 8 other popes that suffered from this supposedly rare bony-faced condition.
Yes, well, in those unenlightened days, there were very few other jobs a bony-faced person could do. So there were, you know, obviously a disproportionate amount of bony-faced pontiffs, including all the, you know, Pope Bonifaces 1 to 9, and also, of course, the controversial Pope Skeletor I.
Skeletor was Pope?
Yes, well, I said it was controversial, yeah.
Honestly, is that true?
Yeah, well, remember, when I became a teacher, I took a solemn vow never to misappropriate a fact.
That was then, this is now. Satirizing non-existent popes. Oh, yeah.
Hey, I was wondering, are you and the lads up to anything after the show?
Yeah, we're going out for a drink.
Oh, great. Can me and Mr. Morgan come along?
Well, the thing is, no.
Oh, right, I understand, yeah.
Oh, Rich, by the way, you know that Joanna Thompson you mentioned? Did she have black hair, olive skin, a little birthmark in the shape of a heart on her thigh?
Yes. Sorry, I'm saying yes to the black hair bit. I never looked at her legs or skin, no.
Do you know her, Christian?
Yes, we had a bit of a holiday romance in the early 90s. She was fantastic. I lost touch with her, unfortunately. She gave great...
That's great to hear. Yeah, thanks. So anyway, have you got a history-based song for us this week?
Yes, this week in history, the Soviet Union introduced its first 5-year plan for industry and agriculture, which expedited the collectivization of farms, thereby moving towards the ultimate goal, which was the state monopolization of food. This song's called Do You Remember the Time the Soviet Union Introduced Its First 5-Year Plan for Industry and Agriculture, which expedited the collectivization of farms, thereby moving towards the ultimate goal, the state monopolization of food.
Sounds great. Let's go for it.
Do you remember October the 1st, 1928? When Russian farmers had to fulfill production quotas handed down from the state. The Soviet plan has said you must realize we will go strong if we industrialize. Rapidly, rapidly, the day that Stalin introduced his first 5-year plan for industry and agriculture, expediting the collectivization of farms, thereby moving towards the ultimate goal, the state monopolization of food. All right. Pretty catchy, huh? All right. Time for a little bit of audience participation now. Do we have any men in the house? Great. Ladies, make some noise. I feel like Justin Timberlake. Thank you. All right, ladies, here's your line. It's the day that Stalin introduced his first 5-year plan. After 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The day that Stalin. All right, okay. Let's see if the fellas can do any better. All right, here we go. Fellas, here's your line. For industry and agriculture, expediting the collectivization of farms, thereby moving towards the ultimate goal, the state monopolization of food. You got that? All right, here we go. After 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Industry, collectivization of farms, moving ultimate goal, food. What's the matter with you guys? It's so catchy. All right, we'll have to finish it. 1, 2, 3, 4. The day that Stalin introduced his first 5-year plan for industry and agriculture, expediting the collectivization of farms, thereby moving towards the ultimate goal, the state monopolization of food. October the 1st, 1928, y'all. Huh.
Christian Reilly and the warnings from history. Sex on a stick.
Ugh. Did you know, Richard, that up until this week in 1820, people in America believed the tomato to be poisonous?
The wazzocks.
But on the 28th of September, 1820, in Salem, Massachusetts, Robert Johnson publicly ate a bushel of tomatoes to prove them safe. Yeah.
How much is a bushel, Mr. Morgan?
Well, it is approximately 24 kilograms, isn't it?
Ooh. Ooh. It's a good job he did that. If he hadn't done that, imagine a world without tomatoes. There'd be no baked beans, as we know them, no red sauce. You'd have to eat BL sandwiches. Thank God no one thinks like that anymore.
Well, you know, that's not strictly true, is it, Richard? Where we come from, Cheddar, in Somerset, many people still fear and demonise the tomato.
That's not fair, Mr. Morgan. That's just stereotyping country folk. In a recent survey, only 79% of people in Somerset said they would burn down a house if a tomato was found hidden on the premises.
All right, well, if you're so sure about the safety of tomatoes, Richard, would you be prepared to prove it to the people of your hometown?
Of course I would. It's all superstition.
Well, good, because I've got a bushel of tomatoes, and joining us here in the studio are actually the mayor and mayoress of Cheddar, Roland and Nancy Pavey.
Sure then, Richard.
Hello, very nice to see you again, Mr. and Mrs. Pavey. I expect I've changed a bit since you last seen me. Tell me, Mr. and Mrs. Pavey, are you really scared of this simple tomato?
No, keep that away from us. They're wolf peaches.
Blood apples.
Satan's sweetmeats.
Beelzebub's big round red banana.
They're made from the blood of children.
Well, they're not made from the blood of children, Mrs. Pavey. People eat tomatoes all the time. There's nothing sinister about them.
Nothing sinister. Is it a fruit? Is it a vegetable?
Well, it's a fruit.
Then why is it in Ratatouille?
Well, but what about Robert Johnson? He ate a bushel of tomatoes.
Yeah, and he's dead.
Well, to be fair, he'd be dead anyway. He lived in the 19th century. Isn't publicly eating 24 kilograms of tomatoes enough proof for you people?
No. What's to say 25 kilograms of tomatoes wouldn't kill me?
When would you ever have 25 kilograms of tomatoes?
In a big sandwich.
So, look, if I ate 25 kilograms of tomatoes now, would you believe they were safe then?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd have to be as mad as a cow not to believe tomatoes were safe after seeing a man eat 25 kilograms of them.
All right, Mr. Morgan, chuck an extra kilogram in that bushel, and I'll eat them during the next sketch to prove to these crazy pavies that tomatoes are not poisonous.
Are you sure about this, Richard?
Of course. Look, here we go. This is the first one. Look. It's delicious.
All right, yes. Now, calm down, please. Quite a quirky little story here. On the 25th of September 1939, Andorra and Germany finally signed a treaty ending the First World War.
Oh, God, 1939?
Yeah, don't talk with your mouth full, please.
Well, sorry, I'm eating these tomatoes. Why hadn't they signed the Versailles Peace Treaty in 1919?
Well, apparently they were forgotten.
Forgotten? I wonder how.
And by the signing of the Treaty of Versailles, today will go down as a day we brought peace to the world forever.
Hey, hang on a minute. What about us? We haven't signed it yet.
Sorry, I don't quite know who you are.
Andorra, little place, just between France and Spain, you know.
Nope, sorry, lost me there.
Come on, Andorra, we're a country.
Are you sure?
Yes, we've got a puppet festival. Andorra, you must have heard of us. Come on.
I've heard of Andover. Is that you?
No, Andorra, the puppet people. We're the festival.
Look,
For puppets.
look, it's obviously your first time here. You don't know anyone.
What and what? What?
Listen, chappie, there's no need to get funny about it. If you want to sign the treaty, come and sign it. Here's a pencil.
Oh, he hates it. You'll just rub it out when I turn my back.
No, I promise I won't.
You just forget it. Forget it. I wouldn't sign your stupid Paxi treaty if you paid me.
Ooh, touchy. Get her. Anyway, come on, Germany. You've lost. Sign this ridiculously punitive treaty.
Yeah, okay. You won it fair and square. That's it. The official end to the First World War.
The First World War?
Sorry, the World War. We're not planning a second. No.
That was then, this is now. If history is bunk, then we'll take the top one.
How am I doing, Mr. Morgan?
Yeah, well, that's 24 kilograms, Richard. Just one more kilogram of tomatoes to go.
God, okay, I'm going for it.
Oh, are you all right, Richard? You've suddenly gone very pale.
Oh, God. Excuse me.
Oh, Richard, my shoes. They were suede.
Sorry, Mr. Morgan.
I knew it! They are poisonous!
That's the devil's barf, that is.
Well, it seems you were correct. Tomatoes are poisonous if you eat more than 24 kilograms of them, so hope any children listening will take note of that. That's the end of the show. Hope you've enjoyed our trip through the annals of history. Sorry about the tomato sick.
That was then, this is now. It's his story, it's her story, it's your story, it's our story.
You have to let me through, it's important.
Get back, madam.
No, I don't believe it. Let her through. That's Joanna Thompson.
Oh, hello, Richard. How are you doing?
Joanna, I can't believe it. You still look so fantastic. You haven't changed a bit.
Oh, Joanna, it's good to see you again. You know, I've dreamt of this moment so many times. When you were at school, I couldn't tell you all the things I felt. But now you're a woman. Yes, I have a wife, but the marriage is a sham. Hillary doesn't understand me or my needs. Not like you probably do, I imagine.
Sorry, who are you?
Neil Morgan. I taught you history at school.
Sorry, I have no recollection of you at all.
Oh. Ha 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 ha! I was joking again. It was another of my jokes. I was only messing around, Hillary, if you're listening, in the White Hart with all the other teachers and the headmaster and the PTA. Like you'd arranged.
Joanna, what are you doing here?
Well, I was listening to the radio and then this show came on. I couldn't believe it was you hosting it. When we were at school, you were just a short, fat, greasy-haired little swatter we all hated because your dad was the headmaster.
Yeah, all right.
But now look at you, hosting your own radio show on Radio 2. Amazing. I just live up the road, so I had to come down because...
With your husband? I suppose you live with your husband?
No, I never made that step. Been waiting for the right man. But listening to the show, I realised that I'd already met that man. I could kick myself for all those wasted years.
Sorry, can I just check? Long shot, I know, but... That man isn't me, is it?
No, it's definitely not you, no.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Great. Well, you've just proved that history is sexy. You never thought anything of me at school, but now you know that I host a radio show about the past. You suddenly want to get to know me and probably have sex with me. Tonight.
No, Rich. It's nice to see you again after all this time, but I could never think of you like that. You're covered in tomato sick, and I'm a bit concerned about what you want to do to my legs.
Does no one understand a metaphor anymore?
It's just... I couldn't believe it when I realised Christian was on the show. Such a shame we lost touch. We had such fun the last time. Christian, I just wondered if you fancied hooking up again.
Sure, Joe. Me and the lads are going for a drink after.
All of you.
Oh, no, don't worry. It's just the band. Do you want to come along?
Do I? Maybe later you and me could have sex.
Yeah, I guess. Whatever. Let's just see how things go.
Cool.
Take one step at
See
a
you in
time.
a minute, then. Bye, Rich.
Oh, well, never mind, Richard. It's probably for the best. Get those legs out of temptation's reach, eh?
No, it's good. Joe and Christian getting back together, you know, it proves that history repeats itself.
And also, I guess you not getting off with her proves that, too.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Christian. And think about it. This is only show 1 of the series. Already one person in this show has copped off thanks to history. It could be any of us next week.
Oh, do you really think so?
Oh, definitely. Very soon, history won't just be the thing that we hastily delete when logging off from the internet. Thanks for listening. That was then, this is now. Goodbye.
That was Then, This Is Now starred Richard Herring, Emma Kennedy, Danny Robbins, Dan Tetsell, Christian Reilly and the Warnings from History, who were Damien Caldwell, Charlie Round Turner and Martin Kane. It was written by the cast and Mark Daly, Toby Davis, Chris Keller, Nice Mum. The broadcast assistant was Trudy Stevens and the producer was Liz Anstey. That was Then, This Is Now as a Celador production for BBC Radio 2!
Thank you very much. I believe it was George Bernard Shaw who said, all we learn from history is that we learn nothing from history. So demonstrating that we do learn something from history, thus proving himself to be a big, beardy idiot who knows nothing and who also ruined My Fair Lady by taking all the songs out. I contend that if history teaches us that history teaches us nothing, then if we persevere, it must also teach us some other things as well, possibly some kind of coded message about what will happen in the future that we'll be able to abuse in some way to become kings of the world. That's what I think. I'm Richard Herring. I was chosen to present this show because I studied modern history at Oxford University. Yeah, that's right. Look impressed. Though, to be honest, I think studied might be too strong a word for what essentially amounted to me sitting in my room on my own for 3 years eating crisps. Yeah, history can be a bit dull and dusty, so to help us lubricate its dry and chafing passages, we've gotten ourselves a rock and roll band. It's Christian Reilly and the Entente Cordiales.
That was then, this is now. It's the show that looks at what happened this week in history. That was then, to see if it can help us understand the world today. This is now. Before concluding, no, it obviously can't.
Don't worry, they're just messing around. They all love history, and I love these guys, and, you know, they love me back, don't you, fellas? Yeah. You know, you and me, Christian, we're very similar, you know. We're like two peas in a pod.
I'm not sure we are, Rich.
No, don't put yourself down, Christian. You're easily as good as I am. What have you been up to this week?
Well, me and the guys, we've been out on the road, we've been gigging, we've been partying with fans, taking drugs, the usual. How about you?
Well, I've been mainly writing comedy sketches about historical events that happened this week, the vast majority of which are too poor for broadcast. But will nonetheless be broadcast anyway.
Very similar to my week, then, Richard.
Oh, I did have a Lemsip on Monday, which is a drug. So let's have a brief look at some of the major historical events that happened this week in history and hear a couple of those sketches that are officially too poor for broadcast.
6 October 1829, Stephenson's rocket is the first ever train on the Liverpool to Manchester Railway, giving rise to the first ever train spotter.
Stephenson's rocket, tick, finished. What am I going to do now?
3rd of October 1935, Italy invades Abyssinia. Its leader, Haile Selassie, is forced to flee, along with his brothers Very and Quite Selassie.
That was then, this is now.
Obviously.
Each week on the show that all the cool hep cats are calling Twatutin, I'm joined by an historical expert to help me with research in History Corner. So will you please welcome the star member of my local pub's quiz team? I can think of no higher honour than the fact that if I were to ever get on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, then he'd be my phone-a-friend. Not that he's strictly speaking my friend as such. He's a bit of a nerdy geek, and I'm not. I'm not. It's Brian O'Green!
You're very kind, you're very kind. Thank you, Richard. It is true I am, for my sins, still the reigning Shepherd's Bush Master Brain champion. In fact, as a joke, some of my friends refer to me as Master Brian.
Some of your friends?
Well, some of the other men at the quiz night.
Do they call you Master Brian?
No, but I'd like it if they did. Oh, maybe you could call me Master Brian.
Nope. Brian is here to help me in my continuing quest to prove that history is sexy. If you're listening last week, you'll know that history's already helped Christian to get off with a real lady.
I'm not sure it was history that did that.
Oh, come on, it was. It was the sexual power of history alone. Historical facts are the greatest aphrodisiac known to man. Watch this. On the 9th of October 1959, Macmillan won a third successive election for the Tories. Girls, who wants to do it with me after the show? See, they're so aroused they can't even speak.
Really, Rich? Come on, there's nothing in history that was remotely sexy.
The Nazis were. The Nazis were sexy.
No, Brian, you can't say that.
Oh, they were, though, Richard. The Nazis were incredibly sexy.
Can't say contentious things like that on the BBC. Look what happened to Andrew Gilligan and Kilroy. We are Tony Blair's lapdog slaves and must say nothing controversial. I want to make it very clear that no one is saying that the Nazis were sexy.
Well, I'm saying that. The Nazis were sexy.
Brian, I said you could only be on the show if you agreed not to talk about the Nazis.
I'm not saying what they did was right, Richard. I'm just saying that evil can be sexy. Look at the Borg in Star Trek Next Generation.
And Star Trek. I only said you could be on the show if you promised not to talk about the Nazis and Star Trek.
How can we not talk about the Nazis and Star Trek? In the end, it all comes back to the Nazis and Star Trek.
We're trying to make history seem cool, and neither Nazis or Star Trek are cool. Though admittedly for very differing reasons. So, Brian, you've been looking through the history books while I've sat around eating crisps. What historical stories have you found for us this week?
Well, in October the 5th, 1916, Corporal Adolf Hitler was injured in World War I.
So I don't want to hear another thing about the Nazis or Star Trek for the rest of the show, including all the movies and the spin-off series The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine or Voyager.
What about the short-lived 1970s cartoon series?
What, the one with that thing with the kind of lion's head?
That's the one.
Yeah, no mention of that.
All right. Well, on 4th October 1582, the Gregorian calendar, instituted by Pope Gregory XIII, replaced the previous Julian calendar. The new calendar leapt straight from October the 4th to October the 15th, which at the very least must have been very annoying for anyone celebrating a birthday on those dates.
I'm glad I hate those idiot Librans. The Catholics claim the calendar was an attempt to compensate for discrepancies in the dating system, but let's see if that's true in a section of the show I like to call What Really Happened.
That was then, this is now.
What really happened?
All right, Pope Gregory, here are the new calendars you ordered.
Great, I've been looking forward to this.
Just sign here, please, Your Grace.
Yes, sorry, Your Holiness. New calendars?
Yes, the calendars all the other popes have done are rubbish. Do you see the Julian calendar? January, Pope Julius sitting on his throne looking austere. February, Pope Julius on his throne looking more austere. March, Pope Julius on his throne looking pompous and austere. I could go on.
There's no need.
No one wants that on their garage wall. And Pope Bonyface's calendar was horrific. Painting after painting of him with his horrible bony face. Ugh.
Oh dear, I think I can see where this is going.
But take a look at mine. There's skill. January, me giving my address at St. Peter's Square, from behind, and look, I'm just wearing my pants. And I'm looking round as if to say, ooh, you caught me.
Oh, yes, it's very good, but...
February, cleaning the Vatican topless, wearing high heels and stockings and suspendies.
Oh, dear, I feel slightly queasy.
March, bit of a comedy one. Me on a toilet in a monkey suit, eating a banana. April, me baking some cakes with cherries on the top. And look, they're covering up where my actual chest and nipplies are.
Well, you know, almost covering, Your Holiness. You do have rather large man bosoms.
I know, that should shift a few copies, don't you think?
Yes, are you sure it's sending out quite the right message?
Yes, Catholicism is boring and tedious enough already. Without all these boring calendars, we're constantly telling people what they must do, what they can't do. It's all so square. They deserve a little bit of a reward for adhering to our killjoy rules and regulations.
Wait. Look at this one, October.
Yes, I like that one. Me playing tennis without any pants on for some reason and scratching my bum.
No. The dates, look. Look at the dates. It goes straight from October the 4th to October the 15th. There's over a week missed out.
Well, it's like that on the original copy Pope Gregory gave us. We faithfully reproduce what he did.
Well, thank God we can't send them out like this.
Well, we can't do them all again. They're all hand-painted by baby monks. Anyway, you've signed for them now.
It's okay. It isn't a mistake. After all, I'm infallible. I'll just make a proclamation. We're not having October the 5th to the 14th this year. Send the Gregorian calendars to the shops straight away. So, that's what really happened. And anyone who says it isn't is lying. Now it's time to go over to TV's Emma Kennedy for this week's Births, Deaths and Marriages.
Time to find out who got wet, bread, or dead with TV's Emma Kennedy.
Hello, I'm TV's Emma Kennedy. That's right, you probably remember me from Planet Mirth. Anywho, enough of my bragging. Let's take a look at this week's felicitations, commiserations, and amalgamations and find out who got a jumper they didn't want from their auntie this week. Oh, the 9th of October sees a happy 64th birthday to John Lennon, the musical genius with the amazing imagination. He could imagine there was no heaven. He could imagine no possessions. And most amazingly of all, he could imagine that Yoko Ono was in some way attractive or talented. But not all historical figures will be celebrating this week, because some of them were dead. The 9th of October 1988 was a sad day for fans of the rotary engine, as it saw the passing of Felix Wankel, inventor of the Wankel rotary engine, the royalties from which are entirely used up every year cleaning the graffiti off his gravestone. Felix Wankel, I, for one, see nothing amusing about your name, and had you lived, would have been proud to have become Mrs. Wankel. But let the tears of sadness turn to tears of joy, because it's a happy 8th wedding anniversary to Clark Kent and Lois Lane, who were wed in the Superman comic on 6 October 1996. I hope Lois wasn't too disappointed on her wedding night. From what I hear, it's not just when he's flying around that Superman is faster than a speeding bullet.
Sorry, Emma, what do you mean by that exactly?
Well, I'm saying from what I hear, when it comes to the bedroom department, Superman perhaps arrives a little quickly, if you catch my drift.
From what you hear? Where have you been hearing these rumours of the sexual inadequacies of a fictional superhero?
Well, I mean, I haven't exactly heard.
You said you had.
Yeah, but, you know, you can imagine if he flies that fast...
No, hold on. Let's ignore the fact that he isn't real for a second. Clearly, in everyday life, Clark Kent / Superman is able to vary the speed he's travelling, sometimes walking, sometimes flying extremely fast. So why should we presume that suddenly, when he's in the bedroom department, as you call it...
Yes.
...he loses this ability to control his velocity?
Yeah, but, you know, it's funny... If you could imagine...
On the contrary, based on his other skills, I would imagine that Superman would be amazing and sensitive and, when necessary, ardent lover.
Yeah, but...
Silence, Kennedy! Your joke was rubbish on every level. Back to TV where you belong. You mawkish termagant.
I'm not mawkish!
You are mawkish.
I'm not!
You are. You're as mawkish as Robin Williams, dressed up as Mork from Mork and Mindy, but reciting all the lines from the film Patch Adams.
Ooh, that's mawkish.
That's how mawkish you are.
She didn't mention that the 7th of October was the 104th birthday of Heinrich Himmler, the Reichsfuhrer of the SS and head of the Gestapo.
No, well, there's a good reason for that if you think
Nor
about it.
that October the 8th is the birthday of Todd Bryant, who played Clark in Star Trek V, The Final Frontier.
Brian, this is your final warning. Now it's time for a song from Christian and the band.
Oh, great, I love music. Christian, can you do In the Living Years by Mike and the Mechanics?
God, I'm sorry about Brian, Kristen. He's a bit of a nerd. He's not my friend, though. I hate him.
He's all right. Brian, did you see that episode of Star Trek The Next Generation where Picard is assimilated into a Borg?
The Borg.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Of course, I have all the Star Trek episodes, Christian, on all formats, including Laserdisc.
Well, that's amazing. Me and the guys, we love TNG. Maybe we should hook up later.
I've got one of the episodes of the Star Trek cartoon on video.
No thanks.
Even I think that's rubbish.
Anyway. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, on this week in 1990, Great Britain entered the exchange rate mechanism. I think we can all remember where we were when we heard that news. On October the 8th, 1990, Great Britain's first day in the ERM, the trading was described as hectic. I thought it'd be a challenge to write a rock song with the word hectic in. It's like a real mum's word, isn't it? Like traipse.
Where were you when stockbrokers had to shelve their pessimism? When Great Britain entered the exchange rate mechanism? Yeah, while normal folks were out there flying their kites in the park, real men were bolstering the value of the pound against the German mark. And trading was hectic. Yeah, trading was hectic. Yeah, we ain't seen the likes of this since the pound went metric. Come on, boys, we can push the pound up by just a few more pfennigs. Let the trade be hectic. Did you spare a thought for poor old Jerry Pilkington West? Got a wife and kids in Richmond, but he's chained to his city desk. Just trading hard, trying to keep the hopes of a 6% bandwidth alive. But now the governor of the Bank of England's just called him up and told him it needs to be more like 2.5. Well, some guys left the office at 4:15. Yeah, but Jerry's gonna trade until greater economic convergence is achieved. Even if it means traipsing back in at 8:15. Cause trading was hectic. Yeah, trading was hectic. But our boys on the stock exchange didn't get dyspeptic. Now you can be a Europhile or a Eurosceptic, but when the trading got tough, the tough got hectic.
Christian Reilly and the Entente Cordiale.
And now, what I've decided to call Conspiracy Theory Corner.
Oh, Brian, you can't do this.
Why not? Has someone got to you? Who's pulling your strings, Herring?
No one's got to me. As important and groundbreaking as this show is, the powers that be have not yet seen fit to influence its content, or indeed listen, or give us enough money to have a proper lunch. You can't do this because all conspiracy theories are rubbish.
Convenient. Perhaps a bit too convenient. This is Conspiracy Theory Corner, and I found something very interesting. This is my theory, Richard. Just look at all the people who've died this week in history. It's a very long list. St. Francis of Assisi, Rembrandt, Tennyson, Janis Joplin, Clement Attlee, I could go on.
Please don't. So what are you saying, Brian?
All these famous people, Richard, dying in the same week throughout history. Coincidence or something more sinister?
Coincidence?
There's no such thing as coincidence.
Why did you give it to me as an option, then?
I thought you'd pick the other one. Now, I have 2 theories on this rash of deaths.
As many as that?
Numero uno, a bizarre time delay suicide pact. 2, perhaps even more disturbing, some sort of immortal time-travelling serial killer, a bit like in the film Highlander.
And I wonder, how do the Nazis come into this?
Well, that's the most sinister thing of all, Richard. They don't.
Well, thank you very much, Brian, for making me realise what a mistake it was to book you.
This is now. Sniff on this if you like the smell of history.
Any actual verifiable stories you found, Brian?
Well, Richard, on the 9th of October 1983, Helen Moss joined the Brownies.
Oh, come on, that's a bit pathetic. What's so good about that?
Well, Helen was 83 years old and became the Brownies' oldest ever member.
Hang on a minute. It's all right for an 83-year-old woman to join the Brownies, but when a 37-year-old man wants to join the Cubs, oh no! Suddenly society says that's wrong.
Is this any particular 37-year-old man you're talking about, Richard?
No.
This is now. To show that nobody is calling apart from Richard Herring.
Twatotton.
Now, October was a very busy month for Henry Ford. In 1908, he first produced his famous Model T Fords. In 1913, he introduced the world's first assembly line.
Would you like to know an interesting fact about Henry Ford, Richard?
I would like to know an interesting fact about Henry Ford, yes.
He also invented the charcoal briquette.
That's not that interesting. He had the idea of putting charcoal in a briquette form. It hardly compares with the somewhat more influential decision to mass-market cars at an affordable price. I think ultimately that's what he'll be remembered for.
I'm not sure people enjoying a barbecue would agree with you there.
Well, they would if they'd had to travel more than 200 yards to get there. Of course, Henry Ford was famous for his amazing sense of humour and his hilarious one-liners, a reputation that I'm not convinced he actually deserves.
Gentlemen of the press, let me present to you the 8th wonder of the world, my new Model T Ford automobile.
So, Mr. Ford, how much would this little baby set me back?
Well, the sticker price is a cool $825.
Wait.
That is an awful lot of money. I don't earn that much in a year.
Well, you'll have to stick to your push bike, Charlie.
Oh, my God, that's funny. That's very funny, Mr. Ford. You are a very amusing fella.
I love the paintwork, Mr. F. What other colours does she come in?
Well, Bud, you can have it in whatever color you like, as long as it's black.
I'm writing that one down. Hey, I think you've got yourself your first customer.
Well, hello, ma'am. Can I interest you in my Model T Ford?
Oh, I should say so, Mr. Ford, but the black's a bit funereal for my taste. Can I have it in red?
Well, as I was just telling the boys here, you can have it any color you want, little lady, as long as it's black.
That's quite amusing. But joking aside, I'd like a red one. Or yellow at a push, but not black. It's a bit depressing.
Well, that's no problem, miss, because you can have any color you want, as long as it's black.
I thought he could have any colour he wanted.
No, really. It's not enough just to keep saying, I can have any colour I want as long as it's black. I don't want a black one. $825 is an awful lot of money, and I think for that outlay, I should be able to have any colour I so desire.
Well, you can, little missy, as long as the color you so desire is black.
No, shut up. Stop laughing at that. It wasn't even funny the first time. For a start, black is not actually a colour in the true sense of the word. Black is the absence of colour. So your joke doesn't even make sense.
I said you can have any color you want.
No, shut up. You're just trying to use self-satisfied humour to cover up for the fact that your car only comes in one shade. If you were honest, you would say you cannot have any colour you want because stupidly we've only made it in black which isn't, strictly speaking, a colour anyway.
I'm not sure it's as catchy.
Say it!
No, you give me a Chinese verse.
Say it!
We only do black, and that isn't a colour.
Good.
And I'll go out and I'll buy a tin of red paint and do a red one for your madam.
Yeah, see? That wasn't so hard, was it?
Of course, that will make the sticker price $830.
$830? No, I don't care. I'll have it in any colour. As long as it's black.
That was then, this is now.
Obviously.
This week saw the 115th anniversary of the opening of the legendary Moulin Rouge.
With Nicole Kidman.
No, the film didn't go on that long. It just felt like it. We have in the studio with us Madeleine LeBlanc, one of the original Moulin Rouge dancers. Well, no, that can't be right. How old are you?
136.
That's amazing.
It's all down to dancing. Dancing keeps me young.
Well, that's great.
I am very limber.
Lovely.
And I can still get my legs over my head. Look.
Are you all right?
Oh, I'm a little stuck, but still, as you can see, a girl.
A very old 136-year-old girl.
Oh, the Moulin Rouge. Oh, I'm sexy, no?
No.
Alluring.
No.
You want me, but you cannot touch. Oh, you can if you like.
No, get off. You're 136.
Not a little touch. My skin, it feels like expensive toilet paper. Not on brand. Charmin.
You're supposed to be here giving us an insight into Fantasy Heckler, Paris, not acting like a randy Galapagos tortoise, which you look a bit like as well. Come on, you must have met some pretty amazing people in your time.
Ah, yes. My customers included Toulouse-Lautrec, Van Gogh, Oscar Wilde. Oh, what a stag night that was. All of them there to see me, oui.
To see you wee?
To see my famous striptease. I know you want to see it too.
No, really, there's no need.
Music!
Oh, God. Don't look, Brian. Brian?
I've gone blind.
Well, put your clothes back on. Oh, God, you're 136 years old. You're old enough to be my mum's 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 mum.
Oh, the English. They're so uptight and prudish.
Oh, dear, that's gotta hurt.
Don't worry. That'll heal.
Get off me. Leave me alone.
Oh, telling another historical fact. It's like you said, knowing bits of history makes you attractive.
But I don't want to be attractive to actual bits of history.
Come on. You know you want it.
Help me, Brian.
Sorry, Rich, I'm going back to Christian's. Apparently, he has a Laserdisc player.
I'll come.
No, you stay here with your girlfriend. I wish I could swap places with you, but, fair's fair. It's your turn.
She looks like Zelda off of Terrorhawks. Well, actually, I always fancied a bit, to be honest.
Come on, Richard. You should try everything once. And how many 136-year-old women have you slept with?
I don't kiss and tell. Anyway, that's all we've got time for. That was then, this is now. Thanks very much. Good afternoon.
That was Then, This Is Now starred Richard Herring, Emma Kennedy, Danny Robbins, Dan Tetsell, Christian Reilly and the Entente Cordiales, who were Damien Caldwell, Charlie Round-Turner and Martin Kane. It was written by the cast and Mark Dady, Toby Davis, Chris Pell and Nice Mum. The broadcast assistant was Trudy Stevens and the producer was Liz Anstey. That was Then, This Is Now as a Celador production for BBC Radio 2.
1, 2, 3, 4. That was then, this is now. Please welcome Richard Herring!
Thank you. Thanks very much. Hello. According to Voltaire, history is filled with the sound of silken slippers going downstairs and wooden shoes coming up. I say, what are you talking about, Voltaire? I think what you've done there is confuse history with the cupboard under the stairs at an Amsterdam brothel. It's an easy mistake to make. But it's a brothel where the men in wooden shoes only go upstairs, by which time all the women in silken slippers have come downstairs. So there's no monkey business going on. which means the Radio 2 censors can relax. No one is having any fun, just how you like it. If anyone understands what Voltaire meant by his stare and shoe analogy, please write to me, courtesy of the BBC. Please mark your envelope. I understand what Voltaire means when he says that history is filled with the sound of slippers and wooden shoes either going down or upstairs. Personally, I don't believe that history has a sound, but if it did, then it would undoubtedly be the hard-rocking cacophony of our house band, Christian Reilly and Stalingrad.
1, 2, 3, 4. Kick off your wooden shoes and take off your silken slipper, because the real sound of history is a jackboot sliding on a kipper.
You've got that bang on, guys. History is filled with such hubris. You, Christian, are much cleverer than Voltaire.
Well, you're not the first person to say that, Rich.
No, I'm not surprised, really.
So anyway, when we left last week, you were getting a little bit fruity with a 136-year-old woman who used to dance at the Moulin Rouge.
Yeah, nice recap.
Thank you very much. How did the date go?
Well, the date was mainly great. I took her out for pizza. Pizza Express, not Pizza Hut. I'm classy. Thanks. Then it was back to mine. But when I held her in my arms to kiss her, her 136-year-old body crumbled into dust. Like that skeleton at the end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Bad luck. It was so near, but so far.
No, it was brilliant, actually. One of the most erotically charged experiences of my life. In fact, we're now going out with each other. We're inseparable. She's here, in this jam jar. Hold on, it's empty. Where's my girlfriend gone?
Oh, sorry, Rich. The guys in the band thought that the jam jar full of powder was part of our rider.
You snorted my girlfriend? That is outrageous. And slightly arousing.
Listen, if it's any consolation, she's got us tripping off our nuts.
Yeah, that is some comfort.
That was then, this is now.
Oh, there are peas coming out of my face. This is good stick.
Well, the supposed idea of this show is not that we talk about dusty women and shoes, that we look at what happened this week in history to see if it can help us understand the mad world we live in today. So in order that we at least partially fulfil this remit, here are some jokes.
12th October 1823, Charles Mackintosh of Scotland begins selling raincoats. 13th October 1823, Aberdeen police arrest the first ever flasher.
14th October 1933, the Nazis withdraw from the League of Nations and set up the breakaway Coca-Cola Championship of Nations.
Well, each week on the show that everyone's calling Twatutin, I'm joined by my panel of historical experts to help me track down the most important stories of the week. So will you please welcome back my old history teacher from school, Mr. Morgan, and pub quiz champion, Brian O'Green.
Hello, Richard. Nice to be back.
Nice to have you, Brian. Mr. Morgan, how's school?
Well, yes, I'm not currently at the school, Richard.
You lost your job?
Well, no, not lost, exactly. Just taking a short holiday pending the results of an inquiry. Apparently professing love for an ex-pupil while simultaneously declaring your marriage to be a sham live on Radio 2, as I did on the first show of the series, is viewed as a disciplinary matter.
It is a mad and sick world. Yeah. How can they sack a teacher for just fancying his sixth formers? It means he's normal. They should be sacking the blokes who don't fancy the sixth formers. They're the real perverts.
Yes, I'm not sure you're helping my case there, Richard.
So, have you met Brian before?
No, hello.
I tell you, he's fantastic. Any question, he's brilliant at trivia. Any question, right. You ask him any question, he'll get it right. Ask him any question.
Oh, right, OK. Just trying to think of one.
Well, it could be, anything you like at all. Anything.
Well, that makes it more difficult in a way to choose. Well,
look, never mind, it was just a...
Oh, no, I've got one now,
Okay,
I've got one.
Yeah.
What year was the Battle of Agincourt?
1415.
Is that right?
Well, I don't know. It's not really my period.
Well, that was fantastic. So what historical events have you guys uncovered in History Corner this week?
Oh, well, this week saw the single most famous event in British history, the Battle of Hastings, which took place in... Richard?
In Hastings?
No, the year.
It was 1066, Mr. Morgan.
Well done, Brian.
Oh, I knew that one. Oh, the Battle of Hastings, eh? I've been to Hastings, and I can tell you, it's not worth fighting over. In fact, I'm surprised that the French and English armies didn't join forces and raze the place to the ground. The only thing worth keeping in Hastings is the Battle of Hastings story experience, which, if you think about it, wouldn't have been there if there hadn't been a battle.
Come on, Richard, that's not fair. Hastings also has the Smuggler's Adventure experience, in which legendary smuggler Hairy Jack takes you on a historical tour de force.
Shut up, Brian, you're not interested. Of course, the fatal mistake made by Harold at the Battle of Hastings was not to take his mum with him.
King Harold, my liege.
What state the battle?
I fear we shall not be able to repel the advances of William the Conqueror.
I wish you'd stop calling him that. It's like giving him before we've got started, isn't it?
Sorry.
Anyway. My eye! Oh, bugger it!
All right, Harold, calm down.
Mum, leave me alone.
Come on, let me have a look.
I've got an arrow right in my eye.
Stop making such a fuss. Come on, get your hands out the way. I can't see anything. Oh, yes, I can see something now. I think it's an arrow. Come on, you're just going to have to blink it out.
Mum, all the other soldiers are looking.
Never mind them. Come on, make yourself cry, Harold. You'll be right as rain in no time.
It really hurts.
Don't be such a baby. Come on. If you get it to the edge, I'll flick it out with this hanky. There you go.
Oh, thanks, Mum.
Go on, get back in there. Be careful and fight nicely. Oh, remember, you've got the advantage of the hill. Whatever you do, don't let your men get overexcited and chase the Normans down into the valley, or they'll execute a pincer movement and decimate you.
Yeah, Mum, all right. I know. Yes, but unfortunately for Harold, his mum wasn't there for eye/arrow management or tactical advice, and so the French managed their one and only non-football-related victory over us. And all over England that night, the same scene was repeated in every tavern.
All right, Tony, where you been?
Well, I've been up at Hastings watching a battle. Oh, it was cracking. You'll never believe what happened.
Oh, don't tell me who won. I'm waiting for the tapestry.
There's a school of thought that believes that William only invaded England to get a new nickname. He'd previously been known as William the Bastard, so he had very little to lose. He knew he'd either become William the Conqueror or William the Rubbish at Fighting, both preferable to the bastard thing he'd found himself saddled with.
Well, of course, there was a danger that he'd just become William the Conquering Bastard.
Now it's over to TV's Emma Kennedy for this week's births, deaths and marriages.
It's time to find out who got wet, bread, or dead with TV's Emma Kennedy.
Hello, I'm TV's Emma Kennedy. You know me. I used to be the older woman in those Heat adverts, but I'm not on them anymore. They've got someone else. She's not as good. But we're not here to talk about me. You want to know news on all things natal, fatal, and affiliatal. So which historical figure will be getting the bumps this week? Evil witch Margaret Thatcher and funny man Lenny Bruce were born this week on exactly the same day, the 13th October 1925, which surely proves once and for all that astrology is rubbish. Although, having said that, they did both enjoy saying things in public that were offensive to all right-thinking people, so maybe there's something in it after all. Spooky. Brrr! But on a note so sad that even hard man Roy Keane is in tears, let's say goodbye to those who no longer walk amongst us. Chico Marx died on the 11th of October 1961. He was the fourth most famous Marx brother after Groucho, Carl and Skid. But dry those tears, Roy Keane, and crack open the confetti, because the 11th of October 1975 saw Liz Taylor's 6th wedding when she married Richard Burton for the second time. The law of averages says that at some point in our lives we will all be married to Elizabeth Taylor.
Hold on, Emma Kennedy.
What now, Herring?
At some point we'll all be married to Elizabeth Taylor.
Yes.
Are you seriously suggesting that everyone in the world will one day marry the film star Elizabeth Taylor?
Yes, I am.
Because, you know, there are approximately 6.2 billion people on this planet.
Yes.
The last time I counted, Elizabeth Taylor has only been married to 7 of them.
I stand by what I said.
That leaves 6,199,999,993 people she has left to marry.
Yeah, that's right. Your point is...
She's 72, so assuming she lives for another 18 years, which is a big assumption, I would say, she would have to marry over 34 million people a year, or 94,368 people a day. Remembering she'd only be able to marry one at a time,
Yeah,
so she'd
you're
have to
right about
divorce
that.
each one before she could marry again.
Yes.
Well, all I'm saying, it would be an exhausting 18-year period. I'm not sure she'd be up to it.
Well, we'll have to wait and see who is proven correct.
Get out of here, you mawkish hoyden!
Stop calling me mawkish!
You are mawkish!
I'm not mawkish!
You are. If you'd lived in biblical times, the New Testament would have been written by Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. Yeah, Mark.
There's no disciple called Mark.
There would have been if you'd been there.
I hate you, you
That was then, this is now. History is more or less funk.
So, Brian, what stories caught your historical eye?
Well, Richard, on the 15th of October 1815, Napoleon started his exile on St. Helena.
Wow, what a come-down for the celebrated brandy-guzzling dwarf. Going from ruling the whole of Europe to being stuck on a tiny, windswept island.
At last, a little bit of time alone. What with being the Emperor of France and starting the Battle of Waterloo, sometimes it feels like I don't get a moment to myself. I'll just put my towel down here.
Mr. Bonaparte.
Cooey! Napoleon!
I don't believe this.
Sorry to bother you. It's just my wife's a big fan of yours. She's followed all your military campaigns.
Look,
Yeah.
I don't want to be rude, but I'm in exile here. I was just hoping to get away from it all for a bit.
Oh, we're on exile too.
Yeah, we got a last-minute budget exile.
Yeah, we really want to be exiled in Tenerife. Have you seen how much it is to be exiled there?
Yeah. But how much did your exile cost?
The British government paid for it.
Oh, I told
Oh,
you we
don't.
should have waited.
Look, if you don't mind, I've been very busy with losing the Battle of Waterloo, and I just want to relax on the beach and just read the latest Victor Hugo.
Oh, don't be like that. Come on, we'll just have a quick picture painted with you. It'll only take 8 to 10 hours. Go on, you stand next to my husband. I know. Let's all do that thing you do when we stick one hand in your coat. It'll be ever so funny.
Look, leave me alone. I'm not having my picture done with you, you imbecile.
Ooh, get him.
Look, I've had it with you people. This is like Elba all over again. Did I lose the Battle of Waterloo for nothing? I'm off.
You forgot your towel.
Wasn't he short?
Yeah, very short.
Now it's time to find out what was the worst invention in history this week with Mr. Morgan.
It's the worst invention of the week with Mr. Morgan.
So, Mr. Morgan, what was the worst invention of the week?
Well, Richard, the worst invention of the week, I think, has to be the frosted light bulb, which was patented this week in 1928 by a Marvin Pipkin. It just seems to me that the great bulk of the work on the light bulb was actually done by Thomas Edison, and for Marvin Pipkin just to come along and say he's invented something new by frosting it just seems a bit ridiculous. Really.
Oh, come off it. Frosting is a fantastic thing to do. It's a wonderful process.
Yes, but all you're doing is taking Edison's light bulb and making the glass less clear by frosting it, thus obscuring the light with frost.
Yeah, frost's good, though. Next time you'll be telling me Frosties are just the same as cornflakes.
Well, they are.
They're not. They're a completely different thing. They're much better.
No, you see, frosting something, whether it be a light bulb or a cornflake, it's not an invention, is it, Richard? It's an unnecessary variation that actually diminishes the value of the original.
Like Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Yes. Probably.
No, I'm sorry. You can't. I think frosted light bulbs are great. You can't have that as the worst invention of the week. The frosting made the light bulb what it is today. An unfrosted light bulb creates no ambience. And I love ambience. As any lady who comes round to my place for a romantic bowl of sugary Tiger-endorsed cereal will find out.
All right, here we go. How about the cheeseburger invented in 1934? Now, that really is a rubbish invention. That is simply some meat and some cheese. Now, I simply can't believe it took until 1934 for someone to come up with that one.
Well, that's what people said after they split the atom. It's all very easy with hindsight. The cheeseburger was a great invention. You can't have that. It's fantastic.
All
right.
The billiard ball, painted in 1865. That's just a different type of ball.
No, you're wrong. They're all great inventions. Can you imagine a world where the joys of playing billiards whilst eating a cheeseburger under the soft glow of a frosted light bulb are denied to us? It's certainly not a world I want to live in, Mr. Morgan. It's a world that you and Osama bin Laden want us to have. Not me. And now a song from our house band, like house wine, in that we could have something better, but we went for the cheapest option. It's Christian Reilly and Stalingrad.
Yes, don't get chippy, Herring. There's 4 of us here. Anyway, this week in 1694 saw the passing of Matsuo Basho, who's the greatest Japanese haiku poet. The haiku is a 3-line poem with 5 syllables in the first line, 7 syllables in the second line, and 5 in the last. Playful 17th century Japanese aristocrats used the poems in question and answer fashion as a means of witty discourse. For example, one aristocrat could say the following poem: "The horse grazing on the bank seems to me grey in colour." And then another could answer, "I think it's otherwise, for its reflection in the paddy says chestnut brown." Comedy gold, ladies and gentlemen. Comedy gold. Anyway, this is the story of Matsuo Basho, who made epic journeys all over Japan, and then he got sick with dysentery. Parts of the song are in haiku, so look out for that.
Matsuo Basho was out walking one day when several of his admirers came up to give him praise. He was feeling ill from his dysentery and he didn't stand on ceremony. He said, "I'm sorry, I've got a case of the raving trots. Please leave me alone." And the crowd that gathered praised him and raised him high in the air. They said, "That's the greatest haiku ever composed right there." Yeah, note how he opens with short, emotionally charged words. Or breaking words, as we call them here in Japan. The poet tried again in vain to get through to his fans. He said, "No, please put me down. I'm not doing poetry now. I need the toilet." Pure Basho, they said. Yes, it's witty, but with a melancholic edge. Yes, the man surely is blessed with genius. Can you smell something? And unaware of what he was doing, Matsuo continued haikuing. He said, "Yes, you fools, it's me. I honestly am quite sick. Find some bushes quick." It's another triumph, they rapturously roared. Yes, the emotive references to nature are very typical of the form. But curiously, no reference to the season in the opening stanza, which is often customary, as we all know here in Japan, the birthplace of this fine lyrical style. The great man could bear no more. He was tired of being ignored. He said, "I tried to warn you. You would not listen to me. I can't hold it." "Odd," said one of the throng. "I feel there's something wrong. That last line should have 5 syllables, but I only counted 4. And the last syllable was the sound of Matsuo Basho colliding with the floor."
Christian Reilly and Stalingrad. That was really good, Christian. You should have tried out for X Factor. You did quite well. You got down to the last 50 easily. Mr. Morgan, anything more for us?
Yes. The 12th of October 1967 saw the publication of Desmond Morris's The Naked Ape.
Oh, my mum and dad used to have that. It is a brilliant book.
Well, have you read it?
No one's read it. It just had that brilliant cover, didn't it? With a naked woman showing her bum on it. I spent most of my childhood looking at that. Made me feel a bit funny in my tummy, you know. I always kept opening the book, hoping that the inside cover would show the front view. But it never did. Not yet. But one day.
It also had a naked man showing his bum, Richard.
I know, but I didn't look at that, because it made me feel even more funny in my tummy. Not as good as The Female Eunuch, though. That is a brilliant book as well. The cover of that's just a torso of a woman. No limbs, no head. Just the good bits. Germaine Greer, she really knew how to get blokes going.
Conspiracy Theory Corner. And now, the regular strand of the show, I'm calling Conspiracy Theory Corner.
It's not a regular strand. I let you do it last week against my better judgment, something I still regret.
Can't you handle the truth, Richard? Afraid it will be too shocking?
No, I'm afraid it'll be too rubbish.
Richard, this is important. I've uncovered a sinister historical conspiracy, not unlike in The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown.
Let me guess. JFK, the Mafia and some aliens were responsible for the death of John Lennon.
Don't be ridiculous, Herring. Everyone knows John Lennon was killed by the Bee Gees. No, this is something far more sinister. 16th of October, 1847. Charlotte Bronte publishes Jane Eyre. 13th October 1963, the Beatles play the London Palladium. 11th October 1985, Orson Welles dies. Now, Richard, if you rearrange the letters of Jane Eyre, it spells Yen Jia, a clear insult to the Japanese. The Beatles, secretly Japanese agents, I mean, why else do you think John Lennon went out with Yoko Ono? They planned to destroy all copies of Jane Eyre. They released their first single, Love Me Do, an anagram of Vole Dome. Yeah, the Beatles were secretly breeding voles in a massive dome in the Nevada desert, planning to release the animals into bookshops across the world to eat every copy of Jane Eyre in existence. Orson Welles found out about the Beatles' plan and they assassinated him.
Orson Welles died of a heart attack. He was 70.
Ah, you fool. He was killed by a trained ninja vole, released by none other than Ringo himself. Incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it is literally incredible. Anyway, Orson Welles died over 20 years after they released that single.
Richard, have you ever tried to train a vole?
No.
It takes time.
So, if this is true, which it isn't, how come all the voles didn't eat Jane Eyre then?
McCartney bottled it.
Brian, you make David Icke look sane and rational.
Flatterer.
That was then, this is now. Traveling back in time like Michael J. Fox and fancying our mums.
Time for one more historical story, Mr. Morgan, I think.
The 14th of October, 1586, saw Mary, Queen of Scots, put on trial for conspiracy against Elizabeth I. And, funny enough, some friends of me and my wife, Hilary... Oh, hello, Hilary, if you are listening. Please do return my calls. I know you want me to only communicate through my lawyer.
Mr. Morgan, there really isn't time for this,
okay.
I'm sorry.
Just please ring. Anyway, we met a couple, Tony and Brenda Williams, who are heavily involved in their local historical reenactment society, specialising in the imprisonment of Mary, Queen of Scots. So please welcome Tony and Brenda Williams.
Hello, Tony. Hello, Brenda.
All right, Richard. All right, Neil.
Hello.
Yeah, can we just correct you on one thing, Neil? You've got Queen Mary's name wrong. It's Queen Mary, Queen of Scotch.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I don't think it is.
No, it is. No, it's Queen Mary, Queen of Scotch. A lot of people get that wrong.
So you specialise in recreating the imprisonment of that particular queen?
Yep. We recreate everything in exact historical detail, from the actual verifiable events of her captivity right down to the actual clothing worn at the time.
Well, presumably Brenda plays the part of Mary, so who are you?
I portray her prison guard, Whitlow Fife Donald.
So, well, it's quite a get-up you've got there. Can you describe what you're wearing for the listeners?
Yep, I'm wearing a leather jerkin, no sleeves, a studded leather wristbands, a leather belt, studded, and leather boots, a leather cap, and also an optional leather mask.
Sorry, a mask?
Yeah. Used on occasions when the jailer, Whitlow Fife Donald, wanted to intimidate the Scotch Queen. It's all accurate, faithfully rendered, exactly what he wore.
OK, well, moving on to Brenda. Take us through your costume.
Well, I am Queen Mary, Queen of Scotch, and I'm wearing a baby doll nurse's outfit.
A baby doll nurse's outfit?
Yes, it's accurate down to the last detail.
It seems to be made out of PVC.
That's right, white clean. Tony researched it.
I did research it thoroughly.
I'm no expert, but didn't Mary wear a sort of long black dress made out of hemp, tied at the waist by a pauper's rope, and on her head a simple white wimple?
No. Not whilst in prison, no.
Yeah, that's right, because in prison, Queen Mary, Queen of Scotch, wore a baby doll nurse's outfit. I mean, sometimes she wore a school uniform, and sometimes she wore a bikini that had slits in.
I have researched this thoroughly, you know. Historical accuracy is paramount.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, but my guess is that Tony has been lying to you about this, Brenda.
Oh, no, not again, Tony Williams. Wait till I get you home.
I'm sorry, Brenda. Will you punish me?
No, I won't punish you anymore, no.
So, did you know that your friends were historical swingers, Mr. Morgan?
Absolutely not, no. And I just want to say to the school governors, if they're listening, that I had no idea that Mr. and Mrs. Williams had these kind of interests. Oh, my career's over.
They're your friends. Well, that's all we've got time for this week. I think we've learned that if history teaches us one thing, then we've probably failed our history A-level. That is, unless we took our A-levels after 1999, in which case, if history teaches us one thing, we'll get an A-star. That was then, this is now. Good afternoon.
That was then, this is now, was written by and starred Richard Herring, Emma Kennedy, Danny Robbins, Dan Tetsell, Christian Reilly and Stalingrad, who were Damien Caldwell, Charlie Round-Turner and Martin Kane, with additional material by Mark Davey, Toby Davis, Chris Pell, Richard Ward, Colin Birch and Nice Mum. The broadcast assistant was Trudy Stevens and the producer was Liz Anstey. That was then, this is now, is a Celador production for BBC Radio 2.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. According to Thomas Carlyle, history is a great dust heap. Well, if that's true, then that was then, this is now, is a gigantic metaphorical hoover running over the pile of smut, metaphorically sucking off all the interesting historical personages. Then we metaphorically take that dust, metaphorically extract the DNA, and metaphorically recreate their lives and experiences right here in the studio. It's a bit like Jurassic Park, but more dust-based and with no dinosaurs. But we leave all the boring historical characters on the dust heap where they belong, including dull old twazzock Thomas Carlyle. He's as crap and uninteresting as the town he gave his name to. If anyone from Carlisle is listening is offended by that statement, then please turn off your radio. In fact, if you're listening in Carlisle and weren't offended by that statement, please turn off your radio as well. We're not so desperate for listeners that we require your custom. Everyone hates you, you Carlilian idiots. Anyway, here at the show that everyone's calling Twatutin... Not you, Carlisle. I told you, turn off. We want to blow the dust from history, and we don't need a metaphorical hoover set in reverse to do it for us, because we have a cool and sassy house band. These guys really blow. In fact, that's how they got this particular gig. It's Christian Reilly and the Pretenders to the Throne of King Henry VII.
That was then, this is now. Slagging off Carlisle merely because Richard Herring's last gig there was poorly attended.
That is reason enough. Stupid Cumbrians. Never cross me, never, or you will pay.
What, by not being allowed to listen to this show? Ooh, harsh punishment.
Hey, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime.
Me and the guys, we played Carlisle earlier this year and the theatre was packed. It was one of the best and most switched-on audiences we've ever had.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, Christian, we've been getting a lot of fan mail and comments from the desperately sad individuals who frequent comedy internet forums. And you and the band are one of the most popular things on the show.
One of the most popular things.
The only popular thing on the show thus far. But I don't understand it. What have you got that I haven't got?
What, you mean apart from good looks, talent, comic timing, raw sexuality, friends, deodorant, the ability to say no when offered a pie?
I have that ability. I just modestly choose not to demonstrate it in public.
Or private.
In Tony Blair's Britain, you never know when you're under surveillance, Christian. My modesty is everything to me. I will not have it compromised. But apart from good looks, talent, comic timing, a raw sexuality, friends, deodorant, and the immodesty to say no when offered a pie, what have you and the boys in the band got that I haven't got?
Musical instruments.
I've got a euphonium.
And the ability to play them.
Why are the public so demanding? Why? Let's see if they'll be satiated with 2 or 3, depending on the edit. Quick one-liners about what happened in history this week.
20th October 1911, Roald Amundsen sets off en race to South Pole. He wins, and his opponent Scott dies in a tent on the frozen ice plains of Antarctica. If Paul Radcliffe's listening, that's the acceptable way to lose a race.
17th October 1662. Charles II sells Dunkirk to France for £40,000.
And if you just sign here and here...
Oh, there is the money.
Thank you very much. Ha ha! You suckers! Dunkirk is already a part of France! Ha ha! You idiots! Shah! No refunds! You bought Dunkirk when you already owned it, you French nincompoop! Hooray! I'm running away with the money now! Bye! Well, have those 2 or 3 jokes, depending on the edit, satisfied you? No! What do you want from me? Blood? My gametes? As usual, I've been too lazy to do any research this week, so will you please welcome my History Corner regulars, my old history teacher from school, Mr. Morgan, and Shepherd's Bush pub quiz champion, Brian O'Green.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Richard. Thank you. Hello.
If you don't mind, Richard, I'd just like to defend Carlisle against your defamatory statements. It is a very interesting town. Not only does it have Hadrian's Wall to the north, but it has also been the administrative centre of Cumbria since 1974.
Yeah, shut up, Brian.
Yes, and actually, can I add that me and my estranged wife, Hilary... Oh, hello, Hilary, if you're listening. Can you please just let me back in to pick up my stereo? Then I promise I'll leave you alone, I really will. I just want the stereo and another chance.
Mr. Morgan!
Sorry.
This is not the time. Stop.
Sorry. Anyway... In happier times, we once went on a caravanning holiday in Carlisle, and we found it a charming place, and the people were lovely. You know, the local service station has a mock-up of Hadrian's Wall in the children's play area.
Do you have any children, Mr. Morgan?
No, Hilary isn't able to have kids. It's her tubes. It's probably something she won't want me talking about on national radio.
So, Mr. Morgan, you've been flicking through my tomes. What historical stories of import have you uncovered?
Well, 20th of October 1632 saw the birth of Sir Christopher Wren, hailed as a national hero for rebuilding London after the Great Fire of 1666 at the behest of Charles II.
I think there's more to this Great Fire than meets the eye. Let's find out if I'm right in a section of the show I like to call What Really Happened.
That was then, this is now. What really happened?
These designs for the rebuilding of London are quite magnificent, Mr. Wren. I must compliment you on the haste in which you have put them together.
Why, thank you, Your Majesty.
I believe there are some parts of the city that are still smouldering, and yet you've already put together a series of complicated technical drawings demonstrating how best they can be restructured.
Yeah, well, I work fast.
It's almost as if you somehow knew there was going to be a fire.
What absurd nonsense.
These plans seem to be covered in a fine white powder. Is this flour?
I often eat bread when working.
They smell a bit of paraffin.
Yes, I was refilling my lamp.
What's this written on the back?
Oh, just some working out.
It says Pudding Lane, underlined with a question mark. That's where the Great Fire started, isn't it? In a bakery.
Yeah, what are you suggesting?
Observers on Parliament Hill said that the fire took the exact shape of your laughing face.
A mere coincidence. Do you know how long it would take to lay out combustible material to achieve such a fire? 2 days, 21 hours and 13 minutes. You can prove nothing.
Well, what about this, then? It's a to-do list called Christopher Wren's to-do list. 1, buy matches. 2, burn London. 3, rebuild London, make loads of money and become famous. That's underlined 3 times.
All right, so you can prove something.
This cannot go unpunished, Sir Christopher.
Oh, I beg you, Your Majesty, don't expose me. I'll do anything. I'll build a monument to your beloved Nell Gwyn that will dominate the London skyline for all time.
Tell me more. And that's how St. Paul's Cathedral got its distinctive bosom-shaped dome. Don't write in to complain to me about that word bosom. It's an historical fact. That's what really happened.
That was then, this is now. History's clock is forever pressing against us.
Well, the big story of the week, Richard, has to be the Battle of Trafalgar, which took place 199 years ago on the 21st of October. The English won, but Admiral Lord Nelson was shot and died on the quarterdeck of HMS Victory.
I think that was fate punishing Nelson for his hubris. It was slightly presumptuous of him, don't you think, to name his ship Victory in advance when he hadn't actually won anything? I mean, he got lucky, the ship did have a victory, but personally I'd preferred a less cocky name.
The HMS Fingers Crossed.
Yeah. The HMS made the best ship win.
The HMS, it's the taking part that counts.
Yeah, it's more English, though, to be like that. But, you know, you have to give it to Nelson. He did really well for a man born with one eye, one arm, and that 100-foot column growing out of his feet.
Sorry, Richard, a column?
Oh, yeah, Nelson's column isn't just a statue. It is an exact, anatomically correct recreation of his strange and freakish body. If he'd had a bony face, he could have been Pope, but unfortunately... he just had that column, but he overcame his disability to rise up through the Navy, starting as a mast, slash lookout combo, before becoming an admiral. Amazing story, inspirational. And then I feel sorry if it wasn't bad enough for his mum calling him Horatio. The poor lad was terribly teased at school. The other lads used to write bawdy limericks on his column when he wasn't looking. You can imagine.
Yes, there was a young lad called Horatio whose legs and body were well out of ratio. The girls looked at the volume of his stupendous column and said, however, will we give you...
Mr. Morgan, please.
I was going to say the time of day.
No, you were not. You're in enough trouble with the school already without that kind of behaviour going on. Now it's time for Carlisle's most popular music combo. It's over to Christian Reilly and the Pretenders to the throne of King Henry VII.
On the 21st of October, 1918, a lady in New York called Margaret Owen set the typing speed record. 170 words per minute. A week later, she failed a drugs test and was stripped of her title. She was off her head on tea and bourbon biscuits. But seriously, this is her fictitious story.
Good people, please pay some heed to where your life is going. God-fearing folks, listen close as I sing the ballad of Miss Margaret Owen. She was just a lowly secretary with an average typing speed. Faster typists would put her in her place. She said, I'm tired of getting sand kicked in my face. I'm gonna be the fastest typist in the land and get me a big pay raise. She took her typewriter to the crossroads. She cried out, I want to type like the devil's own. I want to be the richest secretary in the land. Devil, take my soul and guide my arthritic hands. Well, the lightning cracked and the thunder rolled, and a figure with horns and a tail was summoned. Miss Margaret laughed and she said, hello. Devil, I did not expect you to be a woman. The demon said, child, you're mistaken. I am not Satan. The devil's just a bit too busy tonight. So sit right there in that orthopedic chair and let the devil's secretary show you how to type. So they typed and they typed till the morning light. Miss Margaret clocked back in at 9. Her tray was piled high that day, but it was empty by 9:05. The typing pool chief, he looked on in disbelief. He said, Miss Margaret, you are the best. Yeah, you were born to type, you got a real appetite. And then he put another 1,800 files on her desk. It was then she realized there was no ladder to climb, and all of her dreams were lost. And the devil appeared and whispered in her ear, said, don't you know a deal with me is always a double cross. He said, I've come in person today because I need a new PA. I promoted my last one all the way to the top. Margaret said, I'm not surprised. She really could type. And Satan smiled. No, she just slept with the boss.
Christian Reilly and the pretenders to the throne of Henry VII. And now it's that time again for this week's Births, Deaths and Marriages with TV's Emma Kennedy.
It's time to find out who got wet, bread or dead with TV's Emma Kennedy.
Hello, I'm TV's Emma Kennedy. The Daily Mail once called me the most irritating woman on television. Smoking. Anywho, enough of my yakking. And on to matters fetal, fatal, and ultimately futile. Only Josh and you married folks. So who's blowing out their candles this week? The 17th October saw a happy 79th birthday to boxing commentator Harry, you know what I mean, Harry Carpenter. Now old and frail, his only involvement in the sport of boxing is as a fan and as the probable next opponent of Audley Harrison. But stop smiling and or laughing and arrange your face into the shape of a tiny puppy with a broken paw, because this week is filled with sadness for those who died. The 19th October, 1216, saw the tragic death of King John, killed when he was attacked by biplanes and fell from the Empire State Building. But let's throw off our mourning shrouds and prance with joy abounding, because this week in history saw composer Johann Sebastian Bach marry his niece, Maria Bach. Kinky. But I'm sure they had a successful wedding night, seeing as Bach was famous for his passions and his hair on a G-string.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Emma, I can't really let that go.
Oh, what now?
How would being famous for his hair on a G-string make for a successful wedding night?
Well, you know, G-string, like the G-string, the underpant.
All right, well, even assuming it was that kind of G-string, which it clearly wasn't, all
Well.
women wore bloomers in those days, how would being famous for his hair on a G-string make for a successful wedding night? It doesn't mean anything.
Well, it does, because he was also famous for his passion.
Johann Sebastian Bach was famous for his key structure and tonal allegory. Everyone knows that. Not for lewd or suggestive behaviour. His passions were not, as you seem to be suggesting, a reference to his libido.
Yeah, but it would be funny if they were.
It would not be funny. They refer to the passions of Christ, an intensely serious and spiritual time for any practising Christian person such as myself. Not subject for lewd mockery. Our Lord Jesus Christ was not a sex object.
He was for Mary Magdalene.
This isn't the Da Vinci Code now, Kennedy. Get back to TV where you belong. Learn your craft there before you dare to come on the radio again, you mawkish bint.
Stop calling me mawkish!
You are mawkish. You express emotion in an awkward or foolish manner.
You just read that in a dictionary.
And your jokes are rubbish.
So why do you keep having me on, if only to send me away in shame?
I don't know. It makes no real sense. See you next week.
That was then, this is now. Annoying the people on the BBC Radio 2 forum. You think that the station should be music-based. And uninterrupted by puerile comedy, then ironically mocking them in song. Wasn't.
Now it's time for the very popular and now undeniably regular slot that I like to call Conspiracy Theory Corner.
I've told you before, Brian, it's not a regular slot, and I am now, even as we speak, distancing myself from it.
OK, here goes, conspiracy fans. 18th October, 1939. Lee Harvey Oswald is born. 20th of October, 1973. The Queen opens Sydney Opera House. 23rd October, 1958. Boris Pasternak wins the Nobel Prize for Dr. Zhivago. All these things happening in 1 week in history. Coincidence?
Yes?
No. Coincidence is not a word in my vocabulary.
You just used it.
Lee Harvey Oswald did not kill JFK. The truth is far more sinister. As we all know, Oswald famously said, "I am a pasty."
Patsy. He said, I am a patsy.
No, Richard. That is what the American government wants you to think to conceal the truth. Oswald was a complicated cyborg life form made entirely from meat, potato and pastry. He was literally a pasty, built by a shadowy cartel made up of the CIA, the Mafia and Ginsters.
Right, I don't know why I'm bothering to ask, but where does the Queen opening the Sydney Opera House come into all this?
Well, Richard, what does the Sydney Opera House look like?
An interesting, if ugly, 1970s design public building?
No, it looks like a gigantic Cornish pasty. Think about it, the ridged roof.
So, Brian, let me get this straight. You're claiming there is some sort of international pasty-based conspiracy featuring the Queen and Lee Harvey Oswald.
I think you hear me knocking. I think I'm coming in.
And Boris Pasternak?
Boris Pasternak?
Ah, yes.
Can't you see, Richard? They're all in on it. JFK was going to outlaw the importing of Cornish pasties, and they silenced him. If you take all the words from Dr. Zhivago and rearrange them and add a few more, it's clearly a confession from the Queen that she killed JFK using a high-velocity trained corgi.
And what about the small fact that Dr. Zhivago was published before President Kennedy was killed?
Sinister, isn't it?
Brian, thanks very much for that. It was really good.
That was then, this is now. Sitting atop the dust heap of history and being disappointed with the view.
On 17th of October 1938, famous motorcycle daredevil Evel Knievel was born. But that day also saw the birth of our final guest, Evel's somewhat less notorious twin brother. Please welcome Good Knievel.
Hello, Richard. Thanks for having me along.
It's nice to meet you. So your brother's called Evil and you're called Good. Your parents clearly had a sense of humour.
No, Richard, this is deadly serious. As I'm sure you know, in every pair of twins there is a good and an evil twin. It's yin and yang, preserving the cosmic balance of the universe.
Well, in every set of twins?
Yes.
Who's the evil twin out of Matt and Luke Goss?
Matt is the evil one. Everyone knows that.
Really? What about the Alessi twins from Neighbours?
The one with the slightly wonky mouth was the evil one.
Yeah, So, who's the evil one out of you, Good Knievel, and Evil Knievel?
Well, evil is the evil one. I, Good, am the Good Knievel twin, obviously.
I was just checking. A truly evil twin might call himself Good to throw people off the scent.
Yeah, true. But would a good twin call himself evil? You haven't thought this through.
Yeah. You're good.
I know, that's my point.
So, are you sure about this, Good? It's just that Evil Knievel has never struck me as a particularly evil character. All I've ever really seen him do is jump over lots of double-decker buses on a motorbike, usually crashing, which is a bit stupid and rubbish. But evil?
How could you say he is not evil? Evil travels the world with his Evil Knievel show, encouraging people to do wheelies and jump over ramps and such like. Do you know how many children were injured last year in Britain alone, attempting to emulate him on their push bicycles?
Was it none?
Last year, none, yes. But in 1975, almost 7 children fell off their chopper bikes, one of whom had to seek medical treatment for a twisted ankle.
Oh, dear. Was he all right?
In the end, yeah, it was fine.
Thank God. So, what do you, Good, do to counteract him?
Well, I tour the world with my Good Knievel show, in which I give displays of how a motorcycle should be ridden properly, pointing out safety codes and general road awareness.
Not quite as exciting a show, I imagine, as Evil Knievel jumping through burning hoops and stuff.
Well, perhaps it is not as popular in box office terms, although I had a fantastically well-attended gig in a place called Carlisle last week. Do you know it? It's a beautiful place.
Shut up about Carlisle, it's not.
But, Richard, why don't you wait until you see the show? I'll do a bit of it for you now.
Good.
Yes?
No, I wasn't saying your name. I was saying it was good.
Oh, sorry. That happens quite a lot.
I can imagine, yeah.
So here it goes. The Good Knievel Show. Please welcome me, Good Knievel. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Good Knievel Show. Now, before we start, it's very important that we check our basic kit is up to scratch. The helmet or tin should be full-faced to provide Protection for the nose and jaw, not open-faced as worn by my reckless evil brother, Evil. Now, he also has promotional stickers on his helmet. You should never do this, as the adhesives break down the silicone, thus weakening the helmets. Now, if you drop your helmet even once on the floor, that's it. That's useless.
Good.
So,
Good. Good.
Oh, you like it?
No, I wasn't praising you. I was trying to interrupt you with your name.
Oh, I see. That happens a lot.
Yeah, apparently it does. Are we going to get on to some actual motorbike riding?
Well, not until we're correctly kitted up, Richard. Now,
It's
clothing. Whatever you wear, it must be warm. Coldness kills. Personally, I use these handle mittens attached to the front handles of the bike, which, when you put your hands inside...
No, sorry, this is rubbish. I never thought I'd say it, but, you know, for the first time in my life, I wish I was watching Evel Knievel.
No, don't say that.
What? I want Evel Knievel.
No, if you say his name once more, you'll summon him from hell.
Good. Because, you know, I'm in hell at the moment. I want to see Evel Knievel.
Oh, Richard, now look what you've done. It's Evel Knievel, and I'm too young to die.
It's a 66-year-old man on a motorbike. Ooh, scary.
Do not mock me, Harry. Good Knievel, I have come from the bowels of hell to settle this once and for all. I am fed up with your motorcycle safety, and now I will destroy you.
Oh, how reckless. He's not even using his indicators.
Silence! This battle will determine once and for all whether good or evil will rule the world.
Very well. I am ready.
Bring it on!
Oh, this is amazing. We are about to witness the ultimate showdown between good and evil, as predicted, a bit roughly, in the book of Revelations. This surely has to be amongst the most exciting things ever to be broadcast on Radio 2. But, unfortunately, 27 minutes is up, and there will be hell to pay if Clive Anderson's chat room did not go out on time. So I'm afraid we've got to go. But we'll be sure to let you know who won on next week's show. Personally, I'm hoping it'll be evil. That's always been a favourite of mine. That was then. This is now. Good or evil. We don't know yet. Afternoon.
Mirror signal maneuver!
That was then. This is now was written by and starred Richard Herring, Emma Kennedy, Danny Robbins, Dan Tetsell, Christian Reilly and the pretenders to the throne of King Henry VII, who were Lambert Simnel, Perkin Warbeck, Damien Caldwell, Charlie Round Turner and Martin Kane, with additional material by Mark Dady, Toby Davis, Chris Pell, Richard Ward, Colin Birch and Nice Mum. The broadcast assistant was Trudy Stevens and the producer was Liz Anstey. That was then. This is now as a Celador production for BBC Radio 2.
If the dead could speak, what would they say? Some think they'd say, help, I'm trapped in a box underground, get me out. Where have all my skin and internal organs gone? My jaw has just fallen off now, this is humiliating. Others contend that they would say, I'm looking for someone whose name begins with J. No, wait, it's L. I died from something involving one of the organs in my chest. Or was it the head? I'm not sure. And obviously, having died, I have access to the answers to some of the greatest philosophical questions that have ever troubled mankind. But I'd prefer just to vaguely confirm some information you already know and then say I'm happy now. Bye! Here at That Was Then, This Is Now, we believe that the dead can't speak, but the demographic of the Radio 2 audience suggests that they can listen. And also write in letters of complaint. So especially for them, we've put together a 27-minute-long sketch show about almost 5 of the things that happened this week in history. But don't worry, you don't have to be dead to enjoy this show. But it helps. We've still got something here for those of you who are living and breathing and have blood pumping through your organs. It's our rock and roll band, Christian Reilly and the Rosetta Stones.
1, 2, 3, 4. That was then, this is now. Broadcasting an A&M pure comedy over loudspeakers in every graveyard in the land.
Hey, Christo, that was great. How's it hanging?
It's hanging quite well, thank you.
Good.
So, Rich, at the end of last week's show, Evil Knievel and his twin brother Good Knievel were embroiled in the ultimate apocalyptic battle that would determine whether good or evil would now rule the world.
Nice recap.
Thank you. What happened?
Well, didn't you stay to watch?
Well, no, because a few of the girls in the audience were going out for a pizza and then they were going to go to the cinema and see white chicks.
Well, you gave up witnessing the end of the world as we know it to go and see white chicks.
It was a good film.
Well, how was the pizza?
Great.
Well, I wish I'd come now.
You weren't invited. So anyway, which Knievel won?
I don't know either, really. I really had to go to the toilet.
Rich.
I was busting. Hopefully one of the Time Gang from History Corner will know who won the Knievel Showdown. Please welcome my old history teacher from school, Mr. Morgan, and West London egghead, Brian O'Green.
Thank you very much. Hello.
Live long and prosper.
So, Mr. Morgan, tell me, were you here for the final showdown?
Yes, I was here, Richard.
Oh,
yes.
thank goodness for that.
But I don't know if you noticed, I was drinking heavily through the last show to try and numb the pain of losing my job and my wife. Hello, Hillary, if you're listening. And I fell into a drunken stupor and missed the denouement. Sorry. Do you want some brandy, by the way?
Bit early for me, thanks, Mr. Morgan. Brian, you must have stayed to watch.
I did, Richard, and I know who won.
Oh, great. Who was it, good or evil?
No, Richard, I'm not going to reveal that. There are a lot of people waiting for the DVD release of the fight between good and evil. I don't want to spoil the ending for them. I knew what happened in the last episode of Star Trek Next Generation for months and never told anyone.
Well, this is a bit different to that. So, no result on whether we're being ruled by good or evil. Maybe at home you can have a look out your window and see if the sun is shining or it's raining sulphur and the dead have risen from their graves. Might be the best indication. So what stories have you spotted from history this week, guys?
Well, on the 25th of October, 1854, the charge of the Light Brigade, one of the greatest military blunders in history. Lions led by donkeys.
Yeah, if only there was some parallel we could make between that and something happening in the news today. Yeah. We could look like brilliant Rory Bremner's-style satirists.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't really think of anything.
No, me neither.
No. Oh,
No, never mind. No, you have to be a genius like that bloke off of Dead Ringers who does the Russell Crowe impression to think of satire about something. It's to be able to take two events and just compare them somehow. You have to be a genius to do it. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Of course, the Battle of Balaclava was immortalised in one of my favourite poems, The Charge of the Light Brigade by Lord Alfred Tennyson. Yeah. Into the Valley of Death rode the 600.
Do you know any of the rest of it?
No.
Favourite poems, then, is it?
Oh, no, hang on. Yes, no, cannons, yes, to the left of them, jokers to the right. No, that's something else. No, sorry.
No, OK, never mind. You can't blame Lord Cardigan for killing all those men. He had a tough choice to make.
Right, men, I think it's time we did an attack. As I see, we have a choice. We could head into the Valley of Death. That's the Valley of Death. Or, alternatively, we could go down this valley, a valley which is called, let me check on the map here, yes, the Valley of Life. Sometimes known as the Valley of Staying Alive. So, not much to choose between them. What intelligence have we got?
Well, the Valley of Death, yes. Has cannon to the right of it.
Right, cannon, yes.
Cannon to the left.
More cannon, yes.
Cannon in front.
Mainly cannon.
And at the end, the mouth of hell.
Right, and which valley is that again?
That's Death.
Death, right. I'll make a note of that. Death, mainly cannon and hell. OK, and what about the Valley of, what was it again?
Life.
Life, yes.
The Valley of Life has some flowers on the left of it.
Flowers, yes.
2 rabbits and a fawn.
Fawn/rabbit, yes.
Nice cafe at the front.
Oh, lovely.
And at the end, there are some girls who look like they will definitely put out.
And that's the Valley of Death?
No, of Life.
Of Life, yes. Sorry, that's what I meant, yes. Well, it's a tough call, isn't it? Yes.
Can I suggest Life?
The cannon one?
No, that's Death.
Oh, yes. Well, they're both good, aren't they? I don't see how we can choose, really. Should we toss a coin?
Whatever you say, sir.
OK, heads for Death, tails, the one with the cannon.
But was there more to the Crimean War than meets the eye? It's time for the section of the show the kids are calling Conspiracy Theory Corner.
What kids are calling? There aren't any. No, this is Radio 2. Kids don't listen to this show.
So, Richard, what was the Crimean War really about?
Well, the immediate cause was the Franco-Russian dispute over the holy places in Palestine.
Ha! You blind fool. That's what the government wants you to think. A government, I should add, that is truly made up of giant, blood-drinking otters from outer space. But that's for another time. The sinister truth is that the Crimean War was really a war fought over wool.
Wool?
I think you hear me knocking. I think I'm entering your house carrying a box marked unassailable fact. Richard, do you know how many sheep there are on an average acre of the Crimea?
Is it none?
Today, on average, it is none, correct. But in 1854, there were as many as 8.5 individual sheep per acre. Fact. 8.5 wool-providing sheep providing wool for the international wool market.
But the wool, who cares about that?
Who led the charge of the Light Brigade, Richard?
It was Lord...
That was a rhetorical question. A rhetorical question I will now answer non-rhetorically. It was none other than Lord Cardigan, inventor of the cardigan, an item of clothing made traditionally of...
Sorry, is that a rhetorical question?
No, you can answer that one.
Nylon?
No, it was wool, the wool of sheep. Cardigan saw the trouble in the Crimea as an opportunity to advertise his new range of front-buttoning woolen fashion garments. And a new item he had just invented, the Holy Grail, or should that be Woolly Grail, a helmet made entirely of wool.
The balaclava helmets.
We're cooking on gas. A helmet that made Cardigan millions but provided absolutely no protection from being hit on the head by a cannonball. Check this. 90% of the horses in the battle were made from wool. Fact.
Where's this going, Brian?
All these injured wool-covered soldiers, Richard. Who was responsible for looking after them? None other than Florence Nightingale, or Flono, as she was known. The wool thing was just a front for her own business, selling novelty lamps.
And so Cardigan's involvement?
The charge of the Light Brigade, Richard. Haven't you seen it? The horses were weighed down by giant inflatable novelty lamps with Florence Nightingale's big face on them. They didn't stand a chance. QED, over and out. Can I get a high five?
No, you can't. It's no, because now it is time for a song from Christian Reilly and the Rosetta Stones.
Thanks a lot. This week in 1978, Air Force Sergeant Leonard Matlovich was discharged after declaring his homosexuality on the cover of Time magazine. His tombstone reads, "A gay Vietnam veteran. When I was in the military, they gave me a medal for killing 2 men and a discharge for loving 1. Times have changed since those dark days, but gay personnel in the military are still discriminated against. It seems there's no stigma attached to being a gay man, but sadly there's still a stigma attached to being a gay man that kills people." It's because there haven't been enough gay killers' pride marches and gay killers' pride anthems. So here's one.
1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get this right out of the way. I'm a military man and I'm gay. I'm coming out of the bunker today. I heard all your jokes about dishonorable discharges. I'm brushing up against the men at the parade ground marches. But history ain't gonna remember me that way. Because I killed 2 men and I'll say it loud. I killed 2 men and I'll say it proud. Well, I'm attracted to members of my own sex. Yeah, I killed 2 men and don't you forget it. I killed 2 men and I'll take the credit. If you don't stop calling me a sissy, you might be next. Well, I never liked Barbra Streisand and musical theater sickens me to just put a gun in my hand, mister. I got me some killing to do. Now, don't you judge me on whether I'm gay or straight. All the 2 dead bodies lying in my way. I'm gay and I'm a killer. Get used to it.
Oh, you are so dead.
Christian Reilly and the Rosetta Stones. And now it's time to take a look at this week's births, deaths and marriages with TV's Emma Kennedy.
It's time to find out who got wet, bread, or dead with TV's Emma Kennedy.
Hello, I'm TV's Emma Kennedy. You know me. I played the shop assistant on those Sainsbury's ads with John Cleese, which regularly tops the polls of worst advertising campaign ever. Get in! But what am I doing? This isn't my audio CV. So let's take a gander at what's going on this week in the worlds of grooms, tombs, and bountiful wombs. Blowing out the candles of joy this week is 59-year-old Henry Winkler, most famous for his portrayal of the Fonz, a character who redefined cool, redefining it to mean a 35-year-old man who spends all his time hanging around with nerdy teenagers and who has an office in a toilet. But stop all the clocks and don your widow's weeds, because this week has been just rubbish for those who died. 24th October 1537, Jane Seymour dies in childbirth, ruining plans for the already green-lighted 7th series of Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. But wipe the mucus of despair from your nostrils and raise your hands to the heavens, for this week also saw great joy for those who got married. The 27th October 1964 was a day of wedded bliss for Sonny Bono and his singing partner Cher. Years later, Sonny was sadly killed after skiing into a Douglas fir. Still, at least he didn't fall off a Cher lift.
No, Emma, sorry. Not only is that joke quite offensive, it really doesn't work on so many levels. It's hard to know where to start.
Doesn't it? It's good.
Well, what does it mean, a Cher lift?
You know, a Cher lift, it's like chairlift, you know, like on skiing holidays.
Well, which is it, chairlift or share lift?
Share lift.
Share lift? What is that? A chairlift where instead of having a chair, you're seated on the popular singer Cher, who's suspended from a wire and used to transport skiers up the mountainside?
Yes.
Yes? Wouldn't that be prohibitively expensive? Hiring Cher to act as a seat. She commands a fee of thousands of dollars an hour. It would also be quite inefficient. I'd imagine Cher would only be strong enough to carry, one, maybe two small skiers at a time.
She does work out.
People would be queuing at the bottom of the hill, waiting for Cher to get all the way up to the hill, drop off that person, come back again, pick them up. It would take hours with just one Cher on this Cher lift.
Yeah, but there'd be more than one Cher. I mean, the other Chers would be Cher lookalikes, I mean, some of whom would be transvestite gay men who could carry 2, possibly 3 skiers.
Oh, sorry, I didn't understand. It's a Cher lookalike lift now, is it? It was a Cher lift a minute ago.
Yeah, no, it's a Cher and Cher lookalike lift, a Cher and Cher alike lift.
All right, that makes more sense. But how would falling off a Cher and Cher alike lift be worse than skiing into a tree, which is a horrible way to die?
I don't know.
Sonny Bono is dead, Kennedy. He is dead.
Yeah,
have some respect.
I'm sorry.
Get back to the land of whorish television where you belong, you mawkish witch.
I'm not mawkish.
You are, Kennedy. You're as mawkish as Boris Johnson wrongly imagines the emotionally stable people of Liverpool to be. You're that mawkish.
He wrongly imagines they are very mawkish.
I know. He's wrong about them. If only he'd said it about you, he'd have been lauded as an heroic man of wisdom and truth. But no, he messed up. Leave now. Never darken these doors again.
Till next week's show?
Yeah, same time as usual.
All right.
Bye.
That was then, this is now. History is more or less punk.
What's up next, Brian?
Well, on 24th October 1931, the American authorities finally caught up with legendary mobster Al Capone when he was sentenced to 11 years in prison for tax evasion.
Tax evasion? Well, that really puts Big Al up there with the greats of organised crime, like Lester Piggott. So how did the great mobster and Robert De Niro look-alike end up getting arrested for such a girly crime?
There he is, boys. Al Capone, the most notorious tax evader in American history. Get him.
Hey, what's going on, you schmucks? You looking for a one-way ticket to Palookaville? Whatever that may or may not mean.
Alphonsus Capone, I, Elliot Ness, off of the Untouchables, do hereby arrest you for tax evasion.
No, you can't arrest me for tax evasion. It'll ruin my reputation, you know. I murder people. You know, I'm the guy who organized the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Why don't you arrest me for that, huh?
No, I am Elliot Ness, and I am untouchable. Not in a Hindu lower caste way, but in a non-bribable, above intimidation sort of way. You can't influence me.
But I'm confessing the murders here. You know, really grisly ones. Lots of them.
Forget that. I have concrete evidence that several of your income tax forms have mistakes on them. One even had a smudge where your pen had leaked. You maniac.
Okay, hang on a minute. Jimmy?
Yeah, boss? Ow!
There, look. I just killed someone in front of you. Now will you arrest me for murder?
Don't think you can get off that easily. Cuff him, boys. You've got some serious tax forms to fill in, Mr. Capone. And according to our records, your house doesn't have a TV license.
The 27th of October 1867 saw Garibaldi march on Rome. Garibaldi successfully united Italy, but notoriously spent the rest of his life feeling his achievement had not been appreciated. But why? Let's find out in a section of the show I like to call What Really Happened.
That was then, this is now.
What really happened?
Garibaldi, what can I say? You've pretty much single-handedly united the whole of Italy and made me, Victor Emmanuel II, the king of all of it. It's really a brilliant thing you've done, and I can't really thank you enough.
I ask for no reward. It is compensation enough simply to serve you and my country.
Well, that's super. But obviously, we aren't going to leave it at that. In honour of your bravery, I, Victor Emmanuel II, I'm going to name a biscuit after you.
A biscuit?
Yeah. It's exciting, isn't it?
Is this some kind of a joke? I risked my life and the lives of my men, and all I get in return is a frickin' biscuit.
No. You misunderstand. You don't actually get the biscuit. It just gets named after you. If you want to eat the actual biscuit, obviously, you'll have to buy it, like everyone else. But the biscuit will carry your name. Forever.
Well, sorry, Your Majesty, if I don't kneel down and kiss your ring, but I just thought that maybe for uniting Italy I might get some gold, or a medal, or some massive tract of land, not just a biscuit. And if I was going to do it for a biscuit, I'd expect to actually get a biscuit. Actually, probably a lifetime supply of biscuits. Or at least a money-off voucher system allowing me to buy the biscuits at cost price. Not just the biscuit being named after me.
Most people would love to have a biscuit named after them. I know the Bourbons were delighted.
Well, they would be, because they never did anything, did they? I bloomin' united Italy, all of it, and I want more than a biscuit.
Well, to be honest, I'm a little bit hurt about your attitude about this. I wanted to do something really special and original that I'd chosen myself to show how much I'd thought about it. Not just give you the money or a gift token. And I was really pleased with the biscuit named after you idea. I thought you'd love it.
No, all right. Don't cry, Victor Emmanuel II. I'm sorry, no, it was a really nice idea, the biscuit thing. I really like it.
You're just saying that. You obviously don't like it. You've made that very clear.
No, I do like it. It just wasn't what I was expecting. And, in the heat of the moment, I overreacted. Maybe if I could see the biscuit, then I might appreciate it a bit more.
Really?
Yeah, no, I promise.
OK. It's under this cloth.
That's it. That's the Garibaldi.
Yeah. It's a slightly soft, flat, rectangular biscuit with embedded currants. Do you like it?
You're taking the proverbial now, mate. That is the crappiest biscuit I've ever seen. After all I've done, I'd have expected a gigantic biscuit the size of a man's face, covered in caramel and chocolate with double chocolate chips and nuts and stuff in it, and marshmallows and maybe a little secret drawer with some ice cream in it. Not this currant thing. I wouldn't give that to my grandma. Who'll eat any biscuit. She eats Nice biscuits. They're rubbish.
Listen, pal. I think you're getting a bit above yourself. You've only united Italy.
You can stick that biscuit up your arse, mate. I don't want it named after me.
Well, bad luck, because I'm naming it after you.
Well, bad luck, because I'm going to go out and disunify Italy now.
Well, good luck. I hope that you do.
I hope I do, too. And that's what really happened.
That was then, this is now, don't worry.
We just were talking about.
Brian, have you got anything else for us?
Yes, I have. On 26th October 899 AD, King Alfred the Great died.
King Alfred the Great. What was so great about King Alfred the Great? All he did in his life, the only thing, was burn some cakes. What's great about that? King Alfred, the incompetent chef, would be close to the point. Burn cake boy. That's all he was.
That's hardly fair, Richard. King Alfred the Great united all of England, built the first effective English navy, propagated learning, and introduced a legal system. In fact, most historians concur that the cake-burning story is almost certainly apocryphal.
All he did was burn some cakes. All he had to do was take them out of the oven, but no, that was too much for old Cake Burno, wasn't it? For Alfred the Cake Burner, for Bernie Cakelstone. We have a twatuttin exclusive for you this week. The tomb of King Alfred was recently discovered by archaeologists in Somerset, but the inevitable stories have been emerging from the dig about a mysterious curse that's befallen everyone who's come into contact with the kingly skeleton. So to find if that's true, please welcome the president of the British Archaeological Society, the cursed Susan Molyneux.
Hello.
So, Susan, you're cursed?
Yes, that's right. Everyone who's touched the bones of King Alfred has been afflicted.
So, you look all right. What happened to you? Was your soul ripped out of your bosoms and used to reanimate the cake-burning king?
Oh, dear. We get this a lot. Hollywood has got a lot to answer for with its sensationalising of tomb curses. In real life, Richard, curses resulting in violent death or reanimation of corpses are very rare. The truth is generally much more mundane.
No, I think you'll find everyone knows that when you open a tomb, you get infected with devil spore and then have your face eaten off by scarabs.
Oh, if I had 10 pence for every time someone had said that to me, Brian, I'd have 37 pence.
So, well, how has the curse of King Alfred affected you?
Well, my curse manifests itself as a dry patch of skin around my left elbow, which flares up about twice a week. It's treated quite easily, actually, with hydrocortisone cream. It's very manageable. But before I touched the King Alfred skeleton, my elbow was as moist as yours.
A dry elbow? Is that all that happened? Were none of the diggers desiccated by a scorpion king made of soot?
No, Simon Norman got really bad hiccups that lasted for, 20 minutes at least. We hit him on the back, made him drink water. Ian tried to scare him by waving the skeleton around, but, nothing. It just meant that Ian got afflicted by the curse.
Oh, did he have his eyes and tongue stolen by Imhotep?
No, Brian. No, not on this particular dig. But on a shopping expedition just 3 weeks after the incident, Ian was narrowly beaten into no less than 2 parking spaces by other drivers. It was spooky. All thanks to the curse of King Alfred.
To be honest, Susan, I think your claims for a King Alfred curse are on slightly thin ice.
Well, are you prepared to put your scepticism to the test, Richard? I've brought the King Alfred skeleton with me today. It's in this carrier bag.
Isn't that a bit unprofessional?
Don't change the subject. Dare you touch my cursed skeleton?
What, and risk getting an occasionally dry elbow? Yeah, I think I dare do that. Here we go. There. Nothing's happened, nothing at all. Ooh, what's that?
Who disturbs my royal sleep?
King Alfred?
There's no need to swear.
I wasn't, I'm sorry.
Did I not give you people enough warning? Were the curses of the occasionally dry elbow, the hiccups, and the difficulty parking not enough for you people?
I thought it was just a coincidence.
Do I have to spell it out?
Sorry, I should have realised, but I've learnt now, it's okay.
There's clearly only one way to teach you. I shall send an acid wind to consume your flesh.
An acid wind? Now the bloke got hiccups, that's not fair.
Talk to the hand. It's not my problem. Here goes.
My skin and flesh, ow! Oh, that hurts. Oh, smart. Oh, well, seeing as I'm now just a skeleton clad in muscle like one of those models from biology lessons at school, I better go and have a lie down. Oh, God, now my jaw's fallen off. This is just humiliating. Hopefully I'll be better by next week, otherwise I'll be presenting this show from the other side. So until then, that was then, this is now. Good afternoon.
That That Was Then, This Is Now was written by and starred Richard Herring, Emma Kennedy, Danny Robbins, Dan Tetsell, Christian Reilly and the Rosetta Stones, who were Damien Caldwell, Charlie Round-Turner and Martin Kane, with additional material by Mark Dady, Toby Davison, Chris Powell, Richard Walton, Colin Birch and Nice Mum. The broadcast assistant was Trudy Stevens and the producer was Liz Anstey. That Was Then, This Is Now is a Celador production for BBC Radio 2.
Welcome your host, Mr. Richard Herring!
Thank you. Hello. I believe it was Schopenhauer who said, Cleo, the muse of history, is as thoroughly infected with lies as a naughty lady with a social disease. And I say, how do you know, Schopenhauer? I should point out that's Schopenhauer as rewritten by the evil Radio 2 censor, who arrogantly thinks he knows better than Schopenhauer. Take a look inside your own head, Radio 2 censor man. You're the strange one here. Well, if Schopenhauer was correct, then That Was Then, This Is Now acts as an historical sheath, protecting you from the lies while simultaneously numbing any enjoyment you might get from the experience. But at least we're more responsible than Parsons and Naylor's pull-out sections. That's just reckless. But don't worry, we are prepared to give you unprotected aural relief in the form of our sensational beat combo. It's Christian Reilly and Bubonic Plague.
That was then, this is now. Stupidly criticizing BBC executives before we found out whether we're getting another series. You BBC slugs.
Yeah, nice one, Christ. You stick it to the man.
I will. I hate the man.
Me too. What's the man gonna do? Stop me going on the radio?
Yeah, probably.
Really? Oh dear, I'm sorry. I'd just like to apologise if the BBC censor's listening. You're a really terrific person and not at all small-minded or strange in the head, as I might have previously implied.
Rich, you're just making it worse. Anyway, last week you were turned into a skeleton when your skin and flesh were consumed by an acid wind sent by the ghost of King Alfred the Great, who was cursing you for disturbing his bones.
I know, Christian. Do you really think I'd forget something like that?
Just doing my usual expositional recap.
Well, I wish you wouldn't. It's bad enough living life as a skeleton whose skin and flesh have been consumed by an acid wind sent by the ghost of King Alfred the Great, without people constantly drawing attention to it and staring and stuff.
I'm sorry. That was insensitive of me.
Yeah.
It must have been a very tough week for you.
Actually, it was great. I made a ton of money trick-or-treating last weekend. And I didn't even have to shell out for a costume. Ka-ching! Plus, I lost 12 stone in weight and won the National Slimmer of the Year competition. I've written a diet book as well, like the Atkins diet.
What's it called? The herring diet?
No, an Eskimo writer's already copyrighted that idea. Mine's called The Disturbing the Bones of King Alfred the Great so that you're afflicted by a curse in which an acid wind burns off all your skin and flesh diet. Apparently, most of the top supermodels in the world have been secretly using it for years. We're not here to publicise my book, available in all good bookshops, the perfect Christmas gift for your fat friends and relatives. Like the year my mum and dad genuinely bought me jogging bottoms, a gym membership and a set of scales and nothing else for Christmas, and then expected me to be able to sit down and enjoy Christmas dinner.
That was then, this is now. We believe in yesterday.
Each week on Twituttin, I'm conjoined with two of the finest historical brains in the country. My old history teacher, Mr. Morgan, and the quisling Brian O'Green.
Hello.
Nanu, nanu. So, you've spent the whole week trawling through the history books, the internet, all resources available to find out what things happened between the 31st of October and 6th of November in history. What have you come up with, Mr. Morgan?
Well, the 5th of November, 1605, saw the infamous gunpowder plot in which Guido Fawkes and his friends conspired to blow up the Houses of Parliament.
I think you'll find everyone knows that the gunpowder plot, or 11-5 as it came to be known, was really set up by the government of the time, who used the Ferrari as an excuse to round up and imprison people of an opposing faith without trial.
If only we could think of some modern parallel with that story and something happening in the modern day, then we would be hailed as Rory Bremner-style satirists. We could win a BAFTA award or something.
I cannot think of any modern parallel.
No, nor me, no.
Well, look, if it was easy to think of modern parallels and connect two events, they wouldn't hand out BAFTA awards for being able to do it, would they? It's hard to do that.
Wasn't that the original brief of this programme, to do that? You know, look at history and find modern-day parallels?
Yeah, but what are you going to do? Last show, innit? Got away with it so far. My favourite thing about the gunpowder plot is that this is true. When Guy Fawkes was caught in the cellar, surrounded by barrels of gunpowder and firewood, he genuinely tried to get away with his crime by claiming his name was John Johnson. Not the greatest pseudonym ever. They hadn't put much thought into that. Did he think he might get away with it if he lied about his name?
Oi, there he is!
Hold it right there. We've caught you red-handed trying to blow up Parliament. You are in big trouble, sonny. What's your name?
It's, John.
John what?
John... Johnson. John Johnson. My name is John Johnson.
John Johnson?
Yes, John Johnson.
Middle name?
John.
John Johnson?
Yeah, John Johnson.
All right. And where do you live?
1 John Street, St Johnston.
In Scotland?
Aye. Okay.
Good. So that's John Johnson,
yeah.
1 John Street,
yeah.
St Johnston.
Yeah, so now you've got my real name and my real address. Can I go home to
John Street.
John Street, yeah, and wait for the authorities to come and question
no, not
me?
really, Mr Johnson, because first we'll have to torture you so you can implicate all Catholics in the plot. Then you will be eviscerated and have your winky cut off and burnt in front of you while you're still alive.
Ooh, that's a nice touch.
Oh, yeah, we got a sense of humour, oh, yeah. Then it's out with your heart, and even though you're probably dead, we cut off your head. And after that, you'll be sent right back to 1 John Street in St Johnston.
Ah.
But the name of John Johnson will go down in history. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they name a bag of jumble roughly arranged into human form that is then burnt after you.
What, really?
Yeah.
A bag of jumble, you say? That sounds great. Look, my name isn't really John Johnson. My name's Guido Fawkes.
Likely story.
Guido Fawkes? You must think we're stupid, Mr Johnson. I have never heard such a ridiculously made-up name.
No, I'm Guido Fawkes, and I come from York.
Oh, come off it. You just thought of a town that rhymes with your stupid made-up pseudonym. You're not fooling anyone.
This has been a great week in history for anyone who hates the Catholic Church. Not only have we been burning Catholic effigies this week, take that, Catholics, but the 3rd of November 1534 saw the Act of Supremacy in which King Henry VIII declared himself the supreme head of the Church of England. I love King Henry VIII. He lived the dream, didn't he? You show me a man who doesn't want to make himself head of religion, get married 6 times, murder 2 of his wives and get away with it, and I'll show you a homosexual. Now it's time for a song from our house band Christian Reilly and Bubonic Plague.
On the 7th of November 1998, 77-year-old John Glenn, the oldest astronaut in the world ever, returned to Earth. Obviously, there's no talking to him now.
Did I ever tell you about the time I was in space?
Only every other day. Anyway, this is his fictitious story. Here we go.
You took that old space shuttle out for a Sunday drive. You're oblivious to the queue of rockets queuing up behind. Your hearing aids nearly conked out. Mission controller having a shout. Your last grey hair just fell to the floor. You're boldly going where nobody's gone before. Now you're the oldest guy in space. Doesn't it feel great? Your meals are tubes of paste, and there's another tube to deal with your waste. You're gonna miss these crazy days when you get home. Now you're missing your colleagues at NASA, 'cause you're collecting trolleys for Asda. Your reputation's gone up in smoke. The nurses at the home think it's all a big joke. Hey, ground control to Major John. Why don't you take your vitamin pills and put your cardigan on?
You're catching death of cold.
'Cause you were the oldest guy in space, and now you're back, it still feels great. Because your meals are tubes of paste, and there's still a tube to deal with your waste. You love these crazy days at the nursing. You love these crazy days at the nursing. You love these crazy days at the nursing home.
Now, don't get me wrong, I've got nothing against you Martians, it's just they're savages.
Christian Reilly and bubonic plague. Now, over to TV's Emma Kennedy for this week's births, deaths and marriages.
It's time to find out who got wet, wet or dead with TV's Emma Kennedy.
Hello, I'm TV's Emma Kennedy. You know me. I played an ambiguously gendered Nostradamus on Lee and Herring's This Morning with Richard, Not Judy. They never worked on television again. I did! In your face, Herring! Anywho, time to find out who got mated, created, hand cremated. So which historical figures were tucking into cakes and jelly and then sicking it up this week? Halloween 1718 saw the birth of John Montague, the 4th Earl of Sandwich, most famous for inventing the snack that bore his name, the Montague, an unpleasant combination involving a Scotch egg baked inside a pie and coated in golden syrup with a secret drawer full of ice cream. Yuck! But not all historical people were being born this week in history. That would just be stupid. Instead, some of them were dying. 5th November 1991, Robert Maxwell drowns. Controversy still surrounds his death. Some people think he was a fat thief who committed suicide. Others think he was a fat thief who was murdered. But stop your wailing and you're throwing yourself on a coffin as it's lowered into the cold, cold ground. Because this week is a time of celebration, as some of the great and the good were betrothed. 1st November 1988, actors Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis get married after meeting on set of horror remake The Fly. Sadly, their wedding night was a disaster, as Jeff spent the entire evening masticating.
Emma, sorry, I really hate to do this again. I really do. I wanted this item to work this week. I really did. Jeff Goldblum spent the whole evening... What was it he was doing?
Masticating.
Masticating?
Yes, masticating.
What do you mean by that?
Well, Jeff Goldblum spent the whole evening vomiting onto his food and then sucking it back up through his proboscis.
Well, ignoring the fact that that isn't what masticating means... Well... Why did he do that?
Well, because a fly got into the telepod and Jeff Goldblum was transformed into half man, half fly.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hadn't realised. The Fly was a true story, was it? It was a documentary film.
Yes.
It all actually happened.
Yes, it's a very moving story.
Well, no, but hold on. Didn't Jeff Goldblum die in the end of that film?
Well, he did in the film, well remembered, but, not in reality.
Really?
In reality, Jeff Goldblum learnt to live with his man/fly disability, but the people of Hollywood didn't think the truth made a good enough movie, so they forced Goldblum and Davis to shoot an alternative false ending.
Really? They didn't feel that the story of a movie star inventing a telepod that actually works, and then melding with a fly, but learning to live as a half man and half fly was a good enough film.
I know. No, they thought it would be better if Jeff Goldblum got fused with his telepod and then Gina Davis had to kill him.
OK, well, let's just for fun assume that's true.
Well, it is.
Yeah. If Gina Davis had married this half-man, half-fly version of Jeff Goldblum...
It is true.
Then why was their wedding night a disappointment? Surely Gina Davis would have expected her husband to spend the whole night masticating. She was aware she was marrying a fly, and so could hardly complain when he, a fly, behaved like a fly. That was her own lookout.
Yeah, but she thought she could cope with it, but she couldn't. That's why they ended up getting divorced.
Don't give me that, Kennedy! I've had enough of you. Get out of my sight, you mawkish harpy.
I'm not mawkish.
You are mawkish. You're one of the original Morks brothers. You're Morco Morks. You shop at Morks and Spencer's, and your favourite TV show is Super Market Sweet.
Oh, I love that show.
Get out. Your contract's terminated until next series.
That was then, this is now. Tomorrow, tomorrow, we hate you tomorrow. You're little use to us in our history-based sketch show.
So, Brian, what stories have you got for us?
Well, Richard, on the 5th of November 1935, Monopoly, the world's most famous board game, was launched by Parker Brothers.
The world's most rubbish board game, most like. I hate it. It's got to be the worst board game ever invented. Not only is it a waste of hours of your life, it's also entirely dependent on luck rather than skill, like in the games I play like Scrabble, which I'm good at. And you pretty much know who's going to win after the first couple of trips round the board, which is why I've invented a new board game, Herringopoly.
Herringopoly?
Hey, it's my game and I can name it after myself if I want. Herringopoly is not only much quicker and thus a better game, it's also a much more effective satire of capitalism. Do you want to play?
Well, yes, I do, but I must warn you, Richard, that I'm not only fiercely competitive, I also always win everything.
Not this time.
Need I remind you that I'm the Shepherd's Bush Master Brain Champion?
No, there's no need, because no one is interested. And anyway, I don't think you'll win this game.
I'd love to play. Me and Hillary used to spend most evenings playing board games. Happier days. Hello, Hillary. If you're listening and can leave Mr. Pitt, the geography teacher, alone for 1 second, you filthy...
Mr. Morgan!
I'm so sorry. Can I be the dog?
No. No, because there is no dog.
Oh.
The pieces are different in Herringopoly. The person whose name is most like the name Richard Herring gets the Richard Herring piece.
Oh, that's you, Richard. Your name is identical to that name. Very well done.
Thanks very much. All the other players take one of the nameless, faceless proletariat pieces, which are forever draped in chains.
They're all the same. How can we tell which one of them is ours?
It doesn't really matter, Brian, because in Herringopoly, whoever is the Richard Herring piece starts the game by being born into a wealthy family and inheriting all the properties without having to do a day's work in their life. Each property comes complete with 20 overpriced hotels. As there's no competition, he can charge what he likes.
It's a monopoly.
No, Mr. Morgan, it's a Herringopoly. Any similarity between my game and Monopoly is entirely coincidental.
It's played on a Monopoly board with the Mon crossed out and herring written over it in biro.
That is entirely coincidental. Take your turn, Mr. Morgan.
Oh, I've rolled an 11.
Pall Mall. That's mine, I think. Ah, yes, there it is. For a night in my five-star hotel, you owe me £39,000.
But we only start with 15,000.
Well, I'll take that from you and then arrange a high-interest loan at compound rates, which will increase to hundreds of thousands of pounds in just a matter of a few years.
This really is like real life, isn't it?
Yeah. And you're out of the game.
Oh, what bad luck. Still, it's a brilliant game and I can't wait to play it again.
Brian, your go.
10. Just visiting.
You were lucky this time. I only have to be lucky once. Now, my turn. 7. Take a chance.
Oh, I'll read it. Go to jail. Go directly to jail, where you'll be put in solitary confinement, fed with rotten bread, and have to drink water out of the toilet, and be slowly consumed by syphilitic rats. You have lost the game.
Aha! Hold on, finish reading the card.
Unless you are Richard Herring. In which case, take all the remaining money from the bank, throwing it in the air, shouting, I'm rich, and I hate the poor.
I'm rich, and I hate the poor. Your go, Brian. Whilst we finish off the game, Mr. Morgan, present an item of some kind.
Love to. 2nd of November, 1755, saw the birth of unpopular Queen Marie Antoinette. But was she really as bad as the history books would have us believe? Let's find out in a section of the show that I like to call What Really Happened.
No, it's what really happened.
What really happened?
No, I'm trying to sort of start a kind of catchphrase thing going. It's 4 A's, 5 L's. What really happened?
What really happened?
That was then, this is now.
What really happened?
Marie Antoinette, enemy of the revolution. You have been found guilty of crimes against the French Republic, and Robespierre, declare you must accept the punishment that...
So sorry, I don't understand. Why exactly must I die? What is it that I'm supposed to have done?
Oh, your crime is a heinous one. Somebody told you that the peasants were starving and that there was no more bread, and you said to them, let them eat cake.
Oh, cakes! Let them eat cake!
But what's so bad about that? Cakes are lovely. I was trying to be nice.
Well,
when you put it like that.
I mean, I could understand your problem if I said let them eat soil, or let them eat their own babies, or, God forbid, let them eat Ginster's pasties. But I didn't say those things. I said let them eat cake. You like cakes, don't you, everyone?
Yes, I do.
I like cakes.
Not ones with marzipan. Was it a cake with marzipan?
No, it wasn't. There was no marzipan at all, none.
Well, then I like cake.
See? Everyone likes cake. Who wouldn't? Cakes are fantastic.
Yeah.
And all I wanted to do was to share the delicious cakes with you all, and for that, I'm supposed to die?
It is not fair.
Marie Antoinette is great.
She wanted us to have cake.
No. She is an enemy of the revolution, and death is a just reward.
Actually, I've got a cake with me. It's a big cake with chocolate sauce and nuts and marshmallow and a secret drawer in it filled with ice cream. I'll share it all with you now if you want.
Yay!
Cake for us.
Screw the French Republic. Marie Antoinette for Queen.
Marie Antoinette!
Citizens, would you give up the revolution for a piece of cake?
But of course.
In an heartbeat.
As long as there's no marzipan on it. Or if there is marzipan, it can be easily picked off without leaving a marzipan residue.
Oh, this is terrible. Something must be done. Well done, Marie Antoinette. I am glad you are queen, but I think we should divide the cake fairly, equality, liberté, fairly. Would you like to use my guillotine to cut it up?
Oh, thank you, Robespierre. That's very decent of you.
Ah, it's my pleasure, you just place it there.
Just here.
Yeah, just left a bit, yeah, just right a bit, yeah, just there, okay. Oops! Oh, sorry, everyone, my hand slipped.
You killed our beloved queen.
Slashed right down the middle.
She was a candle dans le vent.
No, look. I have got the cake now. If you all support me and the French Republic, you know what I'll let you have? I'll let you have cake.
Yeah!
Let him live. He has cake.
Cake!
Oh, hang on. There is a little bit of blood on it.
Any marzipan?
No.
Yeah, it's okay then, come on. I'm French, I'll eat anything, come on.
And that's what really happened.
And what really happened?
What really happened?
You're not doing it right.
What really happened?
Look, back to this game of Herringopoly. You seem to owe me £1 million, Rich, which I think means that I have won the game.
Oh, well done, Brian. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it.
That's not possible. There's no way that the Richard Herring character can lose.
Need I remind you that I'm the Shepherd's Bush Master Brain Champion?
Oh, shut up, your face. Anyway, that's nearly the end of the series, and in recognition of that fact, I've arranged a celebratory bonfire and fireworks display right here in the University of London Student Union, where the show is recorded.
An indoor bonfire? Is that wise?
Was it wise for the Light Brigade to charge into the Valley of Death? Was it wise for America to enter the Vietnam War? Was it wise for the people of Pompeii to build their town directly under an active volcano?
No. None of those things were wise, and they all led to disaster.
Look, if a grown man can't build a 20-foot bonfire in a student union made primarily of wood, with a fire exit that's been blocked by 16 barrels of petrol, and with everyone in the room wearing clothes that are made out of cheap nylon and or paper, then Osama bin Laden has already won, my friend. Won, I tell you. Do you want to live in a country like that? Because I don't. It's bonfire weekend, and every man jack in Britain has the right to light a bonfire wherever he likes, by law. Stand back, Mr. Morgan. I'm going to light it now.
Just think maybe you should rethink. You haven't got any contingency plans if things go wrong.
Did Tony Blair's have any contingency plans for if things went wrong in Iraq?
No, and that led to disaster.
Check on. It's already lit. And the fireworks that are randomly scattered inside it should go off any second. Shut up, it's just a bit of harmless fun. Where's TV's Emma Kennedy? She'd like this mawkish combination of pleasure and pain.
She said she was feeling a bit tired and went for a lie down somewhere.
Oh, saints preserve us. She's curled up like a hedgehog inside the bonfire.
Oh, no! She only wanted somewhere warm and out the rain. We're burning her alive.
Ah! Help me! This is worse than the critical roasting I got when I was in the Real Holiday Show in Gary Bush
No! No! Someone save her! I love her.
You love TV's Emma Kennedy? Why have you spent every single week of the series criticising her jokes, shouting at her, calling her mawkish and making her cry?
I was flirting with her, you know, it was only playful. Chicks love that kind of stick.
Oh dear, she's dead.
Oh, TV's Emma Kennedy. She was a candle in the wind.
Yes, probably not the best choice of metaphor in the circumstances.
Well, on the positive side, it does save us having to build a guy.
I don't want to interrupt the mourning process, but predictably, the indoor fire is out of control, and we are all certain to die.
Oh dear.
Maybe the band could play some soothing music as we await our doom, like, you know, on the Titanic.
Sorry, Rich, they've already done a bunk out the back window before the conflagration engulfed the entire wooden stage.
I hate Christian. He gets all the breaks and the girls. I'm not having him in the second series.
Yeah, I don't think there will be a second series.
What, because all that stuff I did about the censor?
No, the fire.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Well, ironically, it looks like we ourselves are history.
Yeah, that is ironic.
It is.
Yes, that's very good. Yeah. The irony has quite cheered me up.
Anyway, that was then, this is now. Hope you have a better afternoon than we're having. Oh, careful.
Who's going to do the closing sig music?
Oh, we'll have to. Bagsy drums.
Oh, I want to do drums.
I'll do keyboards.
Okay, let's give it a go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good, keep it up, guys. Oh, look, it looks like Emma's okay after all.
That was then, this is now. Was written by and starred Richard Herring, Emma Kennedy, Danny Robbins, Dan Tetsell, Christian Reilly and Nova Lounge, who were Damien Caldwell, Charlie Round-Turner and Martin Kane. With additional material by Mark Daly, Toby Davis, Chris Bell, Richard Ward, Colin Burge and Nice Mum.